I'd like to call this meeting of the Clay County Commission to order. We will begin this evening with our invocation. Teresa Lemmy, if you'd please come forward.
Heavenly Father, I ask you to bless our commissioners with favor and grace, wisdom and insight. Lead and guide them in the way they should go to make Clay County, Missouri a great place to live, learn, work, and play. Strengthen them as they lead with vision and virtue. I thank you for your provisions and protections. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Nolte?
Here.
Commissioner Withington? Here. Commissioner Lawson?
Here.
Commissioner Wagner? Here. Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Thompson?
Here.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Next on our agenda is the approval of the agenda. Commissioner Johnson.
Move to approve tonight's agenda.
Motion has been made for the approval of this evening's agenda. Discussion? Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington? Yes. Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
With that, we will move on to public comments. Are there any members of the public who would like to make any comments to the commission on items not on this evening's agenda? Seeing none. That brings us to our consent agenda. Mr. Administrator?
Yes. Consent agenda allows the commission to act upon items considered to be routine and approved in one motion. These may include items that have been reviewed by the commission in a prior session. There will be no separate discussion unless a commissioner requests that an item be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. We have 6 items on the consent agenda. The first one is commission meeting minutes, June 5th and June 12th. The next one is Resolution 2025-198, approve invoice payments for Clay County from the period of June 7th to June 20th. Through accounts payable, there were about 728 invoices totaling $4,844,240.14. The other one was Resolution 2025-197, approved attached designation of authority, authorized county representative, UMB Bank, done by the auditor's office. The next one is 2025-201, approving cooperative purchase service agreement with McConnell and Associates, pavement and other related services as needed throughout the county through our facilities office. The other one is 2025-200, approval for IFB number 22 to 25, HF Vending LLC, camping and fishing vending machines in parks through Parks Department. The last one is 2025-195, approval of a professional services agreement, Clay County Soil and Water Conservation Commission.
Thank you. Commissioner Johnson.
Move to approve tonight's consent agenda.
Motion has been made for the approval of this evening's consent agenda. Discussion? Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
That brings us to our regular agenda. We have one item on this evening's regular agenda. That is 2025-199. Administrator?
Yes, 2025-199, approval of invoice payments for Clay County Prosecutor's Office for the period of June 7th, 2025 to June 20th, 2025. There are about 16 invoices totaling $4,052.28.
Commissioner Johnson.
Move to approve 2025-199.
Motion has been made for the approval of 2025-199. Discussion? Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
I recuse myself.
Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Motion passes 4 in favor, 1 recusal.
That brings us to our discussion items. The sense of it that I have is that the majority of citizens in attendance are probably here for the Rock Quarry expansion discussion. Does that sound, can I see some head nods out there? All right, that's looking pretty much like it. So in the interest of respecting the time of those citizens who've shown up for the discussion, we are going to take the rock quarry discussion item first, and then we will then move to discussion regarding appointments to Kansas City Zoological District. Mr. Administrator, if you'd introduce that, then we will go to Commissioner Lawson to go ahead and start our discussion.
Commissioner Lawson contacted our office regarding expansion of a rock quarry. I'll let her kind of explain more that she's been involved with this and met with several of the citizens and has pretty much information needs to tell regarding their story.
Commissioner Lawson, you're recognized.
Thank you. So I had the pleasure a week or so ago being called by a group of citizens who had grave concerns about their property in relation to the expansion of Idecker's rock quarry. So I went out and met with them, and it was upsetting to say the least, because there was a good deal of damage to their homes because of the blasting. While I was there, I got to actually hear it and feel it firsthand. So there is that, and I realized that the Idecker quarry sits on the property of Mosby. So it is within the city limits. However, these are Clay County citizens that pay a healthy amount of taxes. And so I felt that they really had the right to come talk to us about their concerns and to show us, as you can see up here, some of the things that are happening in their homes. So with that, come on up and introduce yourself.
Well, before we do that, let's see if any
I'm
other
sorry.
commissioners have any other comments.
Oh, I'm
And then
sorry.
we will open it up to the public.
Oh, okay.
So do any commissioners have any questions or comments on this before we go forward? Okay. I'll tell you what I'd like to do is, if those wishing to speak would line up
Well,
back
wait,
here.
they've got a spokesman that's going to.
That is fine if that wants to be the first person, but
Okay.
I would like to get an idea of how many people we have lined up to speak so that I can kind of manage the time. And I realize that the spokesman is going to probably have a longer presentation. I would ask that as citizens come up, try to make rather than be too repeating the same thing, if you could give us some additional information, that would be great. But we do want to hear from you. I just want to make sure that we give everybody, that there's enough time for everybody to have their say. So if you could line up that way, I can kind of get an idea of how to manage the clock here a little bit. So there's someone who is here to speak first.
Yeah.
They didn't want to do that. They wanted to have one spokesman speak for them.
Oh,
So it wouldn't
well, I
take
can't
all
tell
night.
people they can't talk. but-
Okay.
So please come right on up.
I have 2 seconds to set this up really fast. I have some more pictures. This page is not filled just because I ran out of glue and print ink. Good afternoon, good evening. My name is Nathaniel Beagley. I reside at 13716 Cameron Road.
Excuse me, could you speak a little bit more into your microphone so we can hear you better?
Yes, sir.
That's better, thank you.
Nathaniel Beagley. I reside at 13716 Cameron Road, Excelsior Springs, Missouri, off of Cameron Road, north of Mosby, and within half a mile, quarter a mile of the Idecker Rock Quarry. Also an LLC owned by Rodas Mining, with David Rodas, who sits on the Clay County Commission's Board for Planning and Zoning, with his sister Renee and Harold, his brother. I'm going to give you a couple of the pictures that I have, and then I'll go over with them. Most of these pictures are on the board right there, but I would definitely let all the board members kind of see some of these pictures, and that way you all have an idea what we're talking about. The letter I'm going to hand everyone is our concerns overall affected that we've already turned and given into Mosby as an exhibit to their city council members. So I'll give that to you right now. Can we just go through this as a whole packet? And this is what we sent to Mosby originally. I'll just kind of let you guys pass the pictures around and insert. start with pictures too? Oh, sure. Plenty in there.
You start with these and pass
So, Mr. Nolte, Commissioners of Clay County, these are Clay County citizens that I am here helping represent. I won't cover all the issues that we have just because there's so many going on. This is a very large operation that is happening right now, and we believe that there's things going on that have been there since 2011, and they've been planning this massive expansion of 89 acres. They've previously annexed Renee Rotis's property, which is already now currently in Mosby city limits. The front page of that I showed you there is the current expansion and where they're looking to expand right now. It's also on my board up here. That expansion of 89 acres will bring this rock quarry right up to several citizens' backyard. Right now is where Renee Rotis's sits on her property, David Rotis's old house. It's anywhere from a 80-foot to 100-foot drop off the back side of that right now. That current expansion is going to further destroy foundations, further destroy community. It's destroying the road. The 69 intersection of Cameron Road is a traffic nightmare. It's dangerous for all of us to drive on and turn into. The sinkholes that are along Cameron Road, on the board here, it kind of shows the lifestyle of that sinkhole. Originally started, they covered it up. After every rain, it gets a little bit more and more open, and it has been covered up at least 3 times. They currently have covered it up with grass seed so that the grass grows nice and tall and we can't see it. But it's already coming back so much that, as you can see here on the bottom picture of that, it's already noticeable with the grass in the area. Okay, that sinkhole is going to continue to come back. A little bit about what I've done in my lifetime was I was an explosives guy, engineer in the Army, right? First tour to Iraq, I worked on route clearance, which is literally looking for explosive IEDs in the road and countering those measures. When I went to Afghanistan, I was a combat engineer, explosive detection dog handler, deployed with ODA special operation groups, where we were the #1 person going down the road looking for bombs. Explosions shake everything, right? I have a video from yesterday that's on social media where my entire building shakes, and then after the massive explosions that are underground shaking everything, you can hear the popping and settling going on, right? These sinkholes are a definite, obvious situation that they are going to come back. There's even reports of one up the road, probably almost 3/4 of a mile from this. If that rock shelf is constantly shifting and changing all the time, then this rock is going to continuously shift. Houses in Clay County are going to be destroyed. We're worried about our property damage going down. We're worried about, IDECR coming in and basically just pushing north, as has done in several other communities, Amazonia, Missouri, where IDECR's out of in St. Joe, down towards Cassville with another quarry owned by IDECR. They're basically feeding on small local communities and small places with Mosby. We have a couple of the Mosby people here as well today. And I guarantee they can feel it. They can feel the impacts within their city of these things that are happening, right? No matter how many times they fill that sinkhole in, it's going to continue to drain, and the water is going to take the path of least resistance. There's a pond within, 50 feet of that that's already losing water, and it's probably would guess that it's going to start to sink and collapse as well. Also, we have on here from Mosby, Article 12, M3 Heavy Industry District Regulations. As far as I'm looking at on all their regulations and their codes for the city there is no permit or authorization for underground mining, okay? These mines, this entrances that you can see here going into those holes are 25, 30 feet or bigger tall and probably the same sideways, right? What happened was they planned on already having this annexation taken care of, right? They planned on already having the annex going through because they were going to try to slide it under the table just like they've done previously, right, since 2011. These little under the table deals are going on in the city of Mosby, and nobody's there to help regulate. We did voice our concerns with Clay County. A couple months ago, we reached out to a couple different commissioners, myself. We didn't really hear much back, right? We started pushing the issue, and now we're starting to get a little bit of resolve from Clay County, and we do appreciate you guys listening to us today, right? We also have a note here that is on the board, and you guys have a copy of it as well, from Mr. Kip Jones from Planning and Director. He basically told Mosby that, hey, we're not happy with this. It's causing foundation issues. So Mosby is well aware of the situation in which they're causing, and we haven't done anything in Mosby their city council has not done anything to stop any of this. They could be looking into it, but we really don't think that that's the foremost concern of them. And because we reside in Clay County, we're reaching out to you guys to help us out and try to find some resolve with this issue, right? There's also a note in there from the MoDOT, basically director for Kansas City Division. That intersection down there is dangerous. There's been several wrecks there before. I believe there's been a death right within there, and we asked them basically, hey, slow down the speed limit there. Let's get some cleaning up on the side of the road there. And what really needs to happen is there needs to be a turning lane on every one of that. Now, that's a $100 million, $200 million project, so nobody wants to do that. Right, but our tax dollars are going to the roads. Our tax dollars are paying Clay County, right? We pay Excelsior Springs School District tax right now currently. So our tax dollars are going into Clay County, and then in turn, IDECR repairs the roads with contracts from the state of Missouri or previously with Clay County. So the people causing the damage are the ones actually benefiting from the damage. And that is a vicious cycle that we would wish to try to get some help with as well, okay? The next letter in there, also on my board and in your packet, is from Ken IDECR. This dates back to February 21st of 2022 at 2:19 p.m. Dylan Orbison, who tried to fight this the first time through the annexation, but they went under the table and already agreed and signed the annex. This time we basically have stopped the annex for whatever we have, and City of Mosby has tabled it a couple meetings now. So they're supposed to vote for it on Monday, I believe. So we'll see what happens with that. Ken basically told us, Mr. IDECR told us that he would help with the road beautification. He would try to get us times and stuff like that whenever the rock explosions are going off. These explosions are not small. These explosions are shaking the entire house. My grandmother used to have the travel collection spoons, and we had 2 of those set up on plaques right in the inside and everything. In 1 year, every one of those came off of that plaque, and they shook off of my wall and fell down, okay? There's people out here that have thousands and thousands of dollars in damage from foundation repairs, road repairs. We have a couple people that have actually gotten help from somebody and had to, replace wheels, tires, front axle stuff going on because the potholes along Cameron Road are so terrible. If I was in charge of an asphalt company, you would think that I'd probably be able to take a contract from a city and repair those roads, right? So I don't understand why the roads aren't being done, other than nobody wants to claim those roads. They're garbage roads. Clay County doesn't want to do them because it's technically not theirs. It's the City of Mosby and Excelsior Springs, right? But north of that, Clay County is involved with this now because Clay County has to come out and repair those roads on 136 Cameron Road north of the Mosby right there, and 140th all the way to 92 basically, and then east and west on 69. Those roads are getting massively destroyed by gigantic semi-truck, 18-wheel, I don't even know how many tons they are because I don't know. They're massive trucks coming through there, okay? Lately, MoDOT's been pushing a lot of asphalt and getting roads repaired. That included IDECR Quarry blasting more heavy than they ever have, and it's almost like they're doing it on purpose to harass the citizens because we're standing up, okay? So there's a lot of things that are happening in this development that I don't even have the time to tell you guys the whole entire story, okay? Some of these other things that are happening too is Excelsior Springs has now involuntarily tried to annex our properties out of Clay County. So now we are basically just randos, right? Edge of Clay County in between Mosby. Unfortunately, nobody wants to live in Mosby, right? Nobody wants to live there. Excelsior Springs is like, they can't put any businesses down there into their city east on 69 highway coming into town because nobody wants to come there because of the seismic activities. They can't put processing warehouses and other AI type things down there like they've looked into. I believe that even the solar power that they're looking at in Excelsior Springs looked at that area out there and said it can't be done because there's too much seismic activity, okay? The dust that is being portrayed and displayed and just blown everywhere there is not necessarily directly from the blasting, But that's why they went underground. They can do a lot more, right? It looks beautiful on top, but underneath it's shaking all the foundations loose. It's shaking all the ground loose, okay? The dust then gets blown off of these gigantic rock piles. A couple of those pictures there that you see of the dust, that is east on 69 and west on 69, and also right out the backside of my property, okay? We're looking at less than 645 meters from my house, which puts me at, 1,800 feet. In the military, whenever we would do coring-based explosions or any type of explosions, unless we were doing training for combat scenarios, we would be a minimum standoff of 2,000 feet. Minimum standoff at 2,000 feet when we would do it in our blast in our training area, okay? That means that we are within what the DOD announces to be safe and secure, okay? So if there's houses within, 1,500 feet of this place, which there several are, those houses are greatly going to be damaged in the future, and we're going to lose all of our profit that we've been putting into our places, right? We're literally paying to live out there, and these people, this company, one company is destroying all these people's lives. We have a petition with over 600 signatures from a small little bitty town of Excelsior Springs, Mosby, and that Cameron Road Neighborhood Association area. Over 600. There's more than probably, 5 to 10,000 people who travel through that area every single day, right? We also have reports here of the incidents along 69 Highway in Mosby for all crash-related things. There's over 20 on this page from, I'll get your dates, from 2020, right, to 2025. And then there's already, there's 25 of them on here, 30 of them, okay? So this place is dangerous, right? Heidecker is not going to back down, right? You can tell also that they're going to make a second entrance. If David Rodas annexes his land of 89 acres, they're going to make a second entrance right here, okay? Right here is the current one. It's on the board as well. I'll actually just come show you. I can talk about it. All right, so what they're going to do is they're going to basically come in and mine another entrance here, okay? So right now, currently, this is what they have right now, which is not even allowed in the city of Mosby. This is unregulated in the city of Mosby, right? The MSHA won't actually do anything because the city of Mosby is supposed to be doing something about this, right? This right here is where this is, okay? That's where the sinkhole is right there. So we can tell, obviously, that that's because of the sinkhole. This is the grid that they're doing north that way. So that would put the grid north this way. That's what the sinkhole is 100% from. This is another plot that they're going to end up making another entrance into right now. Okay? They're going to put another entrance in there. Mm-hmm. It is only a matter of time. And they're going to pound rock for all day, Monday through Friday. They're going to wash it, crush it, right? And then they're going to try to get rid of it. So they got to basically sit it on these giant trucks. This is a chip and seal roadway. So a chip and seal roadway is not at all to standard with, I'm going to be generous. I don't know, probably these trucks are probably, 60,000, so 30,000 plus, this is huge deal, right? There's gravel all over the roadways. And if they go further with this, you're going to destroy Clay County citizens' futures. No small business. I have a small business. I train dogs. Okay, I've been training dogs for almost 20 years since the military, and I did it, right? My dogs are terrified when that stuff goes off. My dogs are terrified, okay? If you ever seen a dog and a bicycle goes by it or something, right, it gets all freaked out, right? Imagine the entire earth shaking, okay? My dogs are freaking out. This rock quarry is going to ruin my business if it proceeds and goes further, okay? Again, with the petition we sent to the city of Mosby, we hadn't heard anything really on it, but we want to know what regulations are in place from Mosby. We need some help from Clay County and other areas to push Mosby to figure out what is going on, right? The citizens that live in Mosby and reside in Mosby, the 3 that I have talked to, okay, they want to know where all the tax revenue is going. Okay, if tax revenue is coming in at $6,000 a month, so $72,000 a year just from Heidecker's rock quarry, right? Not even the asphalt company. If that about estimated price is coming in, why aren't they fixing their roads? Why do they have homeless running fentanyl between there and cave people over in Excelsior Springs? Okay, there's people being attacked in the city of Mosby because it's unsafe for the residents because it's overtaken by homeless people. okay? So I don't think Mosby is big enough to regulate this mine at all. They're not big enough to regulate this. Somebody needs to come in and tell Mosby, hey, you guys are done. This has to be done. This is silly, right? The city of Mosby could resolve itself as well, and then it would just be unincorporated Clay County. So everywhere we look, it becomes Clay County issue. If I need to call somebody out there for security or for the sheriff's deputy, Clay County. If I need somebody, it's Fishing River, which is, I think, contracted by Clay County, okay? The road I live on is Clay County, okay? So Clay County finds itself involved with this more so than they probably want to be, right? I also want to say one more thing. If a commissioner or a planning and zoning commissioner sells off Clay County land, how is that not corruption? How is he not, by giving rid of his land, right? And Clay County getting his tax revenue, and he moves to Mosby, how does that not interfere with his pledge to Clay County as a commissioner? Okay, I don't understand how that does. I would say that David Rodas needs to resign immediately from the Planning and Zoning Commission. That's probably what needs to happen. He has unfaithfully represented Clay County by selling out all the local Clay County residents around him, right? By doing this since 2011, so he's been planning all of this, okay? He's not bettering anybody in Clay County or the community. He's actually bettering the city of Mosby, selling out on Clay County land, and I think that David Rodas, you should resign from the board. That's not okay, all right? If a police officer is not doing the right thing as a police officer and he's letting people smuggle drugs or whatever it is, that's corruption. And it's corruption at it's the peak level of what a police officer is. And as a commissioner, you need to be careful on what you're doing, right? Because now you're basically letting Clay County do nothing pretty much, and he's taking all the money, he's getting incentives for doing this, okay? All he would have to do is say, no, I don't want to annex this land. Him and they already did annex some, but if he said, no, I'm not going to annex my land, you know, that would be probably the end of Idecker, right? It'd be the end of underground mining. They're not regulated to be underground. This is going to turn out to an entire industrial storage area if we do not get this under control, okay? If you don't understand what underground mining is, it's, 20 by 20 foot, and then there's a pillar in the middle, kind of like that grid shows. This is a massive thing. This happened over in 291 in Independence, as some people will understand it as Cement City, okay? They basically forced a bunch of citizens to sell out their property because it was devalued so much, they just had to sell it for whatever they did. Cement City owns all that now, and there's hundreds of thousands of square feet, possibly looking at miles of underground storage over there. And that's too big for the city, way too big for the little city of Mosby to regulate, when they cannot even regulate the homeless people that are there. They have to contract out to Clay County. They don't have a police, they don't have fire, right? That place is not okay. And they're regulating this gigantic mine. I mean, it is common sense that something's up. Right? And I think a lot of the citizens are really fed up because it's causing damage to their life, right? These are our properties. These are our homes, okay? These citizens want to know what Clay County is probably going to try to do, right, to push back on the city of Mosby, to push back on this rock quarry, okay? Because if somebody dies in a collapsed mine, then it's going to bring to the attention of everybody. If somebody dies at that intersection of 69, it's going to bring the attention to everybody in the community. If another person shows up missing, right, and then is in Mosby and is found ODing on fentanyl and other drugs, it brings awareness to the community. So I don't understand why there's not so much awareness going on with the city of Mosby, Clay County, the state of Missouri, right? Because this is going up above our levels. I've literally emailed the ATF and the state MSHA, right? State MSHA says that they have done reports out there with Idecker, and that as of now, they're meeting all the standards. However, I believe that's false. That's why Idecker for the last 2 weeks has been pushing more dirt than I've ever seen them push. And they're now trying to cover up all their stuff. They're trying to get all their stuff in a row, right? Get their ducks in a row so that when inspections do come out, they're going to be, not viable and they'll pass their inspection, okay? I really have so much to say, but I just don't want to take all of your time. And if anybody else wants to speak, they could. But I definitely think that we have a petition for you as well that has all the 600 certified signatures, over 600. So, yeah, I definitely would love to see Clay County push back on this a little bit. I think David Rodas should resign immediately from Clay County Planning and Zoning, as it is a conflict of interest, and it's not pertaining anything to Clay County. That is giving out tax dollars from Clay County to go to the city of Mosby to better himself and his family. I don't have anything further. If you would like any more pictures or anything, you can let me know.
Would you just hold on for a moment? We've got a couple of commissioners, and they may well want to have some follow-up questions, so if you could just hang on there for a moment, that'd
Yes,
be
sir.
great. Commissioner Withington, I believe you're seeking recognition.
Hey, I really appreciate you bringing this to our attention. I've seen your guys' email. I've reached out to a couple people and everything.
Yes, sir.
So I'm really glad that you guys came here tonight. Thank you, Commissioner Lawson. I guess I would like to hear from our planning and zoning department and maybe our county counselor. Is there anything that the county can do? And then I know Bill Allen, my state representative's here. I know this isn't your area, but maybe hear from you also on what we can do from a state level. So can we start with Kip or Kevin, whichever one?
Yeah, I mean, I can certainly start. The first thing, obviously, from our perspective at the county attorney's office is we're certainly very concerned about this. However, at the county level, this is land in the city of Mosby. We don't have the ability to regulate this business in the sense that I think probably, and we don't have the ability to come in and shut it down to do anything of that nature. That would be for the city to do. Now, obviously, any individual that is damaged by this could file a personal lawsuit against that company. Similarly, if the county's property is damaged, we could do the same thing. So if we believe that our roads are being damaged specifically because of the blasting, we certainly might look at that. One of the things that Representative Allen and I just were talking about is whether there might be an avenue, and he's indicated he would like to reach out to their people, and so I might ask him to step up in a second. There is a Missouri Mining Commission under DNR, and that sure feels like that's the right regulatory body, and I don't know if you guys have reached out to
Many times I have
Okay.
many emails.
Okay. I mean, that's who I think regulates this. And I hate that perhaps, complaints are falling on deaf ears, but I think those are the right ears to direct them to, unfortunately.
I have a question for you, sir. As far as, is it illegal to underground mine in the county of Clay County?
Again, I think that's mostly going to be, we don't, as a county, regulate that. Is that fair?
Roger, but does Clay County, does the actual Clay County, is only surface mining, underground mining allowed in Clay County at all?
The answer is yes. There is underground mining that happens in Clay County, for sure.
Okay, that was my question.
Yeah.
Now, my question also would be to follow up with that is, if they're already on Clay County land, because what they thought was gonna happen is they were gonna just annex this land and nobody was gonna know. So they've been pushing north and they're already under Clay County land. What would we do about that? And how would we get a confirmation from, I don't know, the city of Mosby or Clay County on, hey, you guys are under, if they're under Clay County land right now and they're not in annexed Clay County to the city of Mosby right now, that's illegal, correct?
Yeah, if they're burrowing under Clay County land, we would have a concern about that.
Yeah.
And that is something that I haven't heard, but Mr. Jones and I would certainly talk about, because I think we would have the ability to likely regulate their use if they are coming underneath into Clay County land.
We would love to see something about that, because I have reason to believe, I've been around explosions a lot, unfortunately, and I kind of got out of the Army so I didn't have to be around explosions and airport, and I could get away from people, and here we are, okay? Also, is Clay County the airport over there? Isn't that Clay County? Mm-hmm. Is that Clay County?
Yeah, that's our airport.
So imagine the damage it's doing to our foundation right now. What kind of repairs would have to be done at the airport if they get not necessarily a sinkhole, but if they start having settling and stuff like that? And what interest does the airport or even the railroads have with that?
Again, going back to my point just a second ago, if we show that they're doing damage to our property, we as the county can assert a claim against them for damaging our property.
Is my house your property?
No.
Is the
If-
parcel of my house
No,
your
that
property?
claim would be
Okay.
your claim to make.
Yes, sir, okay.
That part of it.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have we seen any damage at the airport?
That's what I was going to say.
Commissioner, would you yield? I think Commissioner Lawson wanted
Yeah, and
to.
then I want to come back.
Right, well, you'll still have the floor, but you're yielding to her for the moment. When that part is done, it goes back to you. Commissioner Lawson.
So after the meeting, I did have major concerns about the airport. So I called out there and talked with the guy that's the manager, and he said he was going to be very cautious and start watching carefully.
Okay.
He said that at this point in time, the only, they'd seen some rodent damage at the different hangars and
Yep.
things of that nature. But he said at this time, they've seen nothing that would indicate that there was any, that the blasting had caused any problems on, like the tarmac or your
Yeah,
runway
okay.
or any of that.
Okay.
So, but they're going to keep watching to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yep.
Commissioner Withington, you have the floor now.
So you sent some pictures. Has there been any damage, and I can't remember, I had to step out for a minute. Has there been any damage to the highway?
The only damage to the highway being done right now is between all that we know of, right? We can't prove anything. That sinkhole next to Cameron Road, though, it's going to get worse. And if we get a couple good rains, you're going to see it again, and it's going to really pop out. Right now, it's just sinking about a foot. As far as the roads go in that intersection down there, all the way from Mosby and then north on Cameron Road is because of the trucks. I mean, there's massive caving
So
on the sides.
Has MoDOT been out to evaluate or anything?
As of right now, I've emailed and talked with MoDOT, and their director did email me back and said, we are well aware of the issue, basically, and we're going to see what we can do. And they're supposed to be getting what they call like an eval plan out there. They said that could take a couple months.
Okay, and she had indicated that she had heard from the Mining Commission. Have they sent anybody out to evaluate, or no?
As far as I know, that they are well aware of Idecker Mining. Idecker Mining is a nearly billion with a B corporation in the state of Missouri. They have massive MoDOT contracts, okay, massive. They're supplying the material for all the roads being patched, basically. There's people coming all the way from Independence up 291 and such like that, and 210, all the way from Independence, right? And they're moving a lot of materials, okay? And there's, probably 5 to 10 MoDOT trucks come out of the asphalt quarry there again. Again, we want our roads repaired. So I'm not mad at MoDOT. However, they're the ones moving that material, causing all the roads. It's unfortunate that somebody has to really get hurt or there has to be a big accident for something to be done, okay? Nobody would have ever fathomed two cars twice going through the VFW hall in Excelsior Springs. Never been an issue. But as soon as a car goes airborne and people get hurt, whoa, what do we need to do for safety precautions? Why not go ahead and be proactive and offensive instead of being defensive and reactive? I'm trying to save people's lives up here, not just for these people, but for their children's, right? For the people traveling back and forth from Lawson and Excelsior Springs, the Kearney area, okay? Those trucks, the average speed limit on 69 highway is 80 miles an hour? 80? At least, okay? And I have, since I've been complaining now, and I don't like to complain, I do not like to complain, I've seen more Missouri Highway Patrol out there, and I've seen more sheriff's deputies out there doing it. If I was a sheriff's deputy in Clay County and I had nothing, I wasn't arresting somebody down south, they like to go down south because that's where the action is, but if I would go sit up there and I would pull over 20 people in 3-4 hours because people are insane. There's probably, there's trucks that are illegally weighed. They're not putting over their safety nets. They don't use their blinkers. They pull right out in front of traffic. There's many things going on here. It's broader than two sinkholes. It's broader than just, the roads are bad. This is literally affecting people's lives. We have veterans back here and that aren't here today, but there's veterans in this neighborhood that are dealing with explosions, right? I was an explosive guy. Explosions go off. It makes me a little, not nervous. I'm used to it now, but, unexpectedly, that brings back short things that I don't like to feel, okay? That brings back things that I'm uncomfortable with. And I really do feel, and I think everybody here feels, that Idecker is now getting worse. The the project was small with surface mining. Now they are moving materials by the tons, tens and tens of tons at a time. So every day they basically blast 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, that's their blast window. They blast, they let all that settle, they come back in the morning. They're washing and crushing rock by 7, 8 a.m. and it's loud. And all I hear is beep, 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 beep all morning long until about 3 o'clock, okay? All these residents and such, they moved outside there in Clay County, right? Because they like Clay County, right? But they don't want to be in Kansas City limits. They don't want to be in Excelsior Springs city limits. They definitely don't want to be in Mosby city limits, no offense. But they don't want to live there, okay? They chose Clay County because it's out there, it's farmland, okay? These people are able to, shoot their weapons and, they're able to burn their brush. We're looking at massive changes for all these people's lives because of one company. We have a petition with over 600 signatures on it that is affecting these people daily, okay? Not one company or one family. We have hundreds of families, hundreds of citizens.
Let's go ahead and we have one witness at a time, if you don't mind, because I do want to hear from you.
Okay. And so I did a ride along with the Sheriff's Department a while back, and we went through Mosby, and I know there's some places that are on their watch list because they told me they were watching them. So I know that the Sheriff's Department does care about Mosby,
Yes,
and
sir.
there's a lot of issues. But before we get to Bill, or State Representative Allen, I want to real quick, I don't know, he brought up a concern about a conflict of interest for a board member. How do we keep our eye on these board members to make, I don't know who can answer that.
I was going to ask you who you were inquiring of.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who could answer that.
I would think county attorney might be a good place to start as far as who would be the, I don't know how those complaints would necessarily fall out. I mean, Kevin, I should say, Mr. Counselor?
I mean, obviously, we would look at any allegation of a conflict of interest. And the fact that one's been raised, I think there's probably some interest on at least getting to the bottom of that from the commission. We're happy to do that. I'll tell you, I mean, I'm not quite sure what the allegation is, to be honest, at this point, but maybe that's not something for a public meeting to talk about.
Yeah.
But I'd be happy to look at it.
Okay.
So how could they just email?
Get in touch with me.
Get in touch with you? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, and so, Rosanna, do you have anything you would like to chime in with?
No, yes, sir.
So I won't be long, I promise.
Go ahead and identify yourself for the audio recording, please.
Commissioners, my name is Representative Bill Allen. I represent the 17th District near Liberty, west and south of Liberty. First, to the complaints that I've heard tonight, on behalf of the state, I really want to apologize. The state can do better. And I promise you this much, I will look into this starting tomorrow. According to some AI here, it looks like Missouri Geological Survey, which was formerly known as the Missouri Bureau of Mines, is a state agency focused on studying and managing Missouri's natural resources, particularly geology and water resources, and I'm sure that's who's responsible for this at the state level. So I will reach out to their liaison tomorrow and make a report back to the commissioners, and I assure the citizens that are here that we will get the attention of the right people in the state, and if nothing else, I can assure you that Governor Kehoe would be interested in this as well, and so I'll make that connection as well. Thank you.
Commissioner, did you want to also, Commissioner, I thought I understood you might want to inquire of Mr. Jones, or have you got the information you need?
I saw him go sit down, so I didn't know if Kip, if you have anything you'd like to weigh in on?
I'll just leave those where you want to sit down. Would you like me to sit down?
You can just stand however you're comfortable, but just so he has access to the microphone.
Kip Jones, Planning Director. So I have a map I could share as well if there's questions about the area. But my department did hear from several of the citizens. We did issue that letter to the city of Mosby. I think the commissioner's got a copy of that. We also reached out to MDNR and the Mining Commission. So it's my understanding that MDNR manages the surface mining. According to MDNR, this mine is in good standing with them. And then I reached out to the Mining Commission, and they manage the underground mining. They indicated that they do a quarterly inspection and that the mine is in good standing. I also did ask about the question of how do we know how far they're mining underground? And it was my understanding that they're required to hire a surveyor and provide that to the state to show that they are on the property that they are supposed to be on. So wanted to provide that. Happy to answer any questions or show the map if you'd like to see it.
Commissioner, do you have any further questions?
No, I don't have any. Thank you, Kip.
Did you have a question of Mr. Jones? Have you concluded your questions for the moment, Commissioner? Commissioner Johnson.
Yeah, thank you, Kip. You actually answered some of my questions, but I just want to confirm. So we have any reason to believe that they've come out of city limits and into county property?
I don't know.
Is there any way that we can get eyes on that or eyes on their survey or anything to confirm that?
I can see if I can request that from the state.
Okay.
Otherwise, it would be them giving us permission to hire a surveyor to come in there and verify that.
And is there anything that you know of that we can do? Anything more that we can do as a county?
So we submitted a letter just from the Planning and Zoning Department in conjunction with the county administrator. I suppose it probably is an option that the commission could pass a resolution of opposition or whatever the commission would want to do. I'd rely on Mr. Graham for that. But as far as regulating, unfortunately, with it being in city limits, we cannot regulate the mine.
And how about this concept of them wanting to annex more property?
We don't play a role in that either. And actually, if you don't mind, I'll show the map that shows how, I'll say, unique this area is.
I saw one document that was just being passed around that claims that Mosby can't legally annex property at this point. Do you know anything about that?
I don't, because my office does not play a role in that process. So if you look at the map here, it's extremely complicated because this is where multiple jurisdictions converge. So that red spot that just hopped in there is the existing quarry. This, and keep in mind, I'm estimating, but this is roughly the area that Mosby is looking at annexing to expand the quarry. This is the area that the city of Excelsior Springs is putting before the voters to annex on the November ballot. This is the city of Kearney, which the airport sits inside the city of Kearney. So that's the city of Kearney. This is city limits currently of Excelsior Springs. That is Mosby in green. And that is Village of Prathersville. And then we're back to the map. So there's a lot in play here.
Thank you for that. That was impressive and very helpful. Wow. And the concept of some damage to I know Commissioner Lawson talked about this, but you don't know of any damage to our airport, do you, from this?
I have not heard of any damage, no.
Okay. Actually, that's all the questions I have.
Okay. The gentleman who spoke some moments ago, if you'd come forward, Commissioner Lawson, I believe you wanted to inquire of the gentleman.
So I had a couple questions for you. Number one, you were saying, did I understand you correctly when we talked before? Right, the way that it's set up at this point in time, IDECR is supposed to be doing surface mining only?
Yeah, so the paper I sent you over earlier with M2 and M3 heavy industrial stuff is everything that they're regulated to do. The highlighted items are crushing, washing, and also surface mining.
Okay,
They are
surface.
not regulated, as far as I know, legally regulated to allow any underground mining. And this is the problem that we're coming into, is because it is, as you just saw, such a very tight and complex area, and everything intersects right there. That's why myself and many of these citizens and the other 600 up plus on the petition, right, that's why we're coming here right now, right? We had to go to Excelsior Springs to be like, hey, can you guys help us with the roads? Can you guys do anything, right? Everybody's telling us from Misha, from Clay County, which we appreciate you guys letting us be here and speak this long. This has been great. What's happening is we're feeling left out. Okay, these people, we're paying taxes in Clay County and almost at the same time being pushed out of Clay County because nobody wants to live next to this. Like,
Yeah.
Have any of you been in a like explosion inside of a vehicle or a house before and really feel the ground shake, right? Like that is what is happening right now. I have a picture, videos on my phone that show, and you can hear it. And then once those blasts are done, there's popping and all that sediment is settling then, right? Because it's shock waves, right? And actually the deeper you go underground, the more you're going to cause settling, erosion, and displacement of that rock because it's deeper. There's a compact. That's why when we do breaching charges and stuff like that, we put weight on the outside of the door, the explosive in the middle, and then the breach, so that that weight counteracts that explosive and it makes a directer, deeper impact. So that's what's happening right now. I mean, my whole building is shaking. It's bad. It's bad.
I have another question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I will tell you that I, like Commissioner Withington, rode with Sheriff's deputy. And one of the things that, boy, they did almost immediately after dark was that they started going through Mosby. And in fact, there was a car in there that he knew, and he pulled the gal over and checked some stuff out immediately. And then we also sat there at the filling station and caught several speeders that were coming up. So everything you're saying is exactly the way it really is. The other thing is, I saw a bill in here for some basement repair that would choke a horse.
Yep.
And now does your insurance company, when you turn that into the insurance company, do they go after IDECR to get that paid for you or anything? Or do you know?
I don't want to give too much information. Yeah,
Excuse me.
it's basically
Yeah,
they're saying their
yeah.
problem. It's basically, I was just kind of, sorry, I didn't mean.
Okay.
They're basically telling everybody, hey, that's your problem, right? You bring up the name IDECR in the state of Missouri. You guys have all heard about IDECR before today?
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Okay, IDECR is a huge billion-dollar corporation, nearing billion-dollar, if not billion-dollar corporation already, okay? They're huge. So they have a massive influence on the state of Missouri and everything that's going on. And what's happening is a lot of people will say, we can't do anything about it, go talk to them. Well, we can't do anything, go back to talk to them. That's why I'm literally writing the ATF, I'm writing the state MSHA, I'm writing the Missouri Attorney General, right? Because these citizens that are paying tax dollars are not getting good use out of their tax dollars. Matter of fact, they're just enhancing the rock quarry by paying taxes, is what's really going on, because the people fixing the roads are the people getting contracts with the state of Missouri and other agencies, and that's how it is. And that's kind of crazy to really fathom and think about, but that's really what's going on.
Well, and you know, the other thing is, so even if, say, the insurance company did pick it up, as long as that blasting is continuing, it's not doing a darn bit of good, because it's going to just happen all over again, and you're going to have to redo and redo and redo.
It makes the insurance more expensive.
Well, sure it does.
Because they know about it.
That's going to go sky high.
Yes,
well, here's the thing. Bill Allen is one of the most honest people that I know. If he tells you he's going to do something, he will do it.
Okay.
Now, knowing that, we don't know what's going to happen, but I know he'll let us know what information he finds out.
ma'am.
The other thing that people had brought up was about the Planning and Zoning Board. And Mr. Rodas does sit on the Planning and Zoning Board.
Yes, ma'am.
And I would say that were there anything that came before that board that had to do with expansion or had to do with them, if he had some dealings at the time, normally what those gentlemen do is they recuse themselves and they don't vote or have any involvement in that particular action. So I can promise you that if anything like that comes before Planning and Zoning, I will be in that room and I'll make sure that everything's done properly.
Was Mr. Rodas on Planning and Zoning before 2011?
I'm sorry?
Was Mr. David Rodas on the Planning and Zoning Commission before 2011?
I don't think so, but
So
I'm
since
not positive.
2011, he's had an LLC as as Rodas Mining with him and Renee, who already annexed out of Clay County to the city of Mosby, and now David's trying to do it, and then his brother Harold also is part of that. So if there was something going on, right there's your answer, because they did that in 2011. They have articles of organization in 2011 organized, and the before. So if that, he knew his whole plan. They've known their plan since Idecker moved into there. That's what I'm trying to tell everybody. They know exactly what they're doing. This mining operation that Idecker has is a 70-plus year. They're talking like 2075. 2075. They want to push us out so they can just do what they want there.
Well, those tunnels that we saw in there, if they're doing surface mining, my question, I guess, that we might pose to Idecker would be, why are you building these tunnels if you're only doing surface mining? And the other thing is, I remember a number of years ago, and Jerry, you'll remember this, we had people that lived, I want to say on top of the hill from 210.
Yes.
And that big rock quarry that was there, they were coming and saying, hey, they're blasting, and our houses are shaking, and our, all the things that you're experiencing.
Yes.
And come to find out that this quarry had exceeded the limit they had been given by whoever the powers to be are.
Yes, ma'am.
And they were going way back in there and blasting, and it was destroying these homes. So I think that I thought about this since our meeting the other evening. I feel horrible. I wish there was something that we could do right now and I could say to you, they're going to stop it. But right now, if I understood you correctly, while this deal with the city of Excelsior Springs and its possible annexation of your area.
Yes, ma'am.
It's
already signed. They signed it, legally voted on it. We are going to vote for that on November 2nd
In
or
November,
3rd. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Yes.
but up until then, from today until November, there cannot be any more annexation of that of land for Idecker, can there?
So 2 things to that. They are 100% underground blasting right now. 100% underground. It's not, I don't think they're doing much surface of anything anymore. It is all underground. Okay, it's all underground. Okay, we're talking massive explosions. The second part of that is that yes, because Excelsior did that annexation, legally they have the terms. That's not to say that Mosby can't vote yes, right? And then what happens to the citizens? We get screwed because all Idecker is going to do is keep going until all the legal stuff is taken care of. They don't care. They're going to fight the legal stuff. It's a $1 billion corporation. Right? They don't care. We've already voiced our concerns to Idecker in Mosby at the City Council of Mosby with David Rodas. They all know that we are not happy. We're not very pleased with what is happening in our area. So yeah, Mosby knows exactly what we're doing. And the city of Mosby has no clue. I've sit on a couple of their boards, right? They don't know what their budget is. They don't know when they're getting a city sign. They are hardly. Did you guys all look at the agenda before you showed up today? Most of the time? So I was sat in a meeting and the Mosby City Council was for the first time looking at everything. What's happened is we've exposed Mosby and now they have to do things accordingly and legal, right? So now we sit there and watch them and they're like, they're trying to find the words to, does anybody accept this? Does anybody second this? Okay, all in favor, aye. They're trying to find the words for that because I don't believe, just saying, I do not believe that they are really been doing how it's supposed to be done. Okay, I will 100% say that I don't believe that city of Mosby has been doing what they are supposed to do, right? And there's citizens in the city of Mosby that have had enough of that. They've really started to. This is all bringing it to light of what's going on in Mosby. So they just got water, like their water's been trashed for years.
There's an issue with water. Yeah, one thing I want to charge Bill Allen with doing is, whatever it takes, I would like for there to be some independent somebody that has the capability to go on that land and go in and see if they're mining underground. And we need to know 100,000% sure for us as a county commission, if they have encroached under Clay County's property, if they're just in Mosby, then it's going to have to be Mosby that does
Yes,
something.
ma'am.
But if we can prove, and we've got to prove beyond a reasonable doubt, that they are now encroaching on Clay County property, then we can take action. But until we know that 100,000%, then our hands are kind of tied, like our attorney says.
Yes, ma'am, and I'll tell you right now, 99.999%, they're underground. It's a different explosion just from last year, they're underground. A couple people that I know that can get aerial and that they do flight lessons and such back there, they definitely have confirmed that, yes, the tunnel just started coming in within, the last year, and so they've been on it. The surface mining last year, whatever, cool, I got it, right, boom, on top. This is shaking everything from the ground up.
Yeah.
So it's a whole nother ballgame. It's a way bigger, larger operation. It's huge. This is a huge operation that's happening, and they want to expand another 89 acres.
Well, I think that we'll start with Bill Allen for myself, and once that he can get some good information for us, if he, whatever he needs to get done, we'll back him up on doing.
I do want to make sure that our petition can get to you guys if we let Ms.
Yes, I want that
McCloskey speak.
petition, yeah,
So,
yeah.
do-
You can give it to that gorgeous little gal sitting there.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
So that's all I have.
Well, okay, but no, we have to kind of keep this
Yeah,
thing going a
I
little
got you.
bit. So what I want to do is, Commissioner Johnson wanted to ask you something, and then I want to start getting to some of the people back there. The lady with, I think I can't
Yeah.
quite, with the striped blouse, I think was wanting to speak. So Commissioner Johnson wanted to ask you some questions. I want to go to her because she's been staying there for a while, and then I'll go to Commissioner Wagner. So that's the order in which we will proceed. Commissioner Johnson, you're recognized.
Thank you, sir, and thank you for your comments.
Yes, sir.
A couple of questions. First of all, have you or anybody else filed claims for damage with the company?
So not that I know of, there has been somebody who has filed complaints, and IDECR took care of the damage on their vehicle. I believe that, is there any other? Yep. So we do have another couple ladies, and I think they're going to speak that, or would like to, that they have. So we do have a formal damage that we have complained to Mr. Ken IDECR about. We had a whole entire petition last time this happened for the 28 or 29 acres. And the IDECR will not sign anything legally, right, which I don't blame them. So yes, there's been multiple complaints.
Okay, so complaints, but no claims for damage.
We do have claims for damage. We have a receipt over there that shows what they redid their foundation. However, IDECR's not said, yes, we'll pay for that or anything.
How
of that
about
sort.
claims against the city? And we filing claims against the
Mosby?
city? Yeah. That you know of.
We definitely have complained to them.
Right.
This is another problem. You guys, I can get a hold of. I can find out when your meetings are. Mosby, it's very hard. You have to research to find anything about
okay.
it. There's no real online. It's online and their codes are in there, right? But you're not getting that. Like, you got to show up to the door and find out when things are happening, right? So that's the biggest problem is Mosby's so small, they cannot regulate this operation.
And how many people here, by show of hands, have been affected by these, by this mining? Okay, so over here. And how many would you estimate outside of here are impacted? I'm assuming there's more than this?
Yes. Oh, yes. There's many more. There's probably another 3. This is about a quarter of us, maybe.
So here's my suggestion. We really don't have any standing, I guess. That's a legal term, but we really don't. We don't have any control over that city. We can't tell them what to do and what not to do,
Yes, sir.
unfortunately. And although we don't have legal standing, we could have some political influence on them. And so my suggestion is this, and it kind of goes along with what Kip said, is my suggestion is that we craft a resolution for approval next week that would ask the city and the company to essentially cease and desist, to stop their operations until they investigate and listen to these folks and find out what the problem is and how to mitigate this problem. Again, there's no legal ramifications to that, but there's maybe some political influence. And having a resolution like that, and tell me, Counselor, if you think I'm off base on this, but having a resolution like that could also I think, help with legal issues.
Yes, sir.
Because no company or city wants something like that coming from the county and then have to go to court and try and defend their actions. I think that could be helpful in that way as well. But
We would love that. We definitely, Monday, Mosby will have their meeting on that as well. And I believe most of the citizens in Mosby, there only has to be a few of them that basically vote to be like, yeah, we're going to do things differently. So yeah, we would love to see immediately all rock quarry operations cease. No more blasting, no more moving rock, no more traveling down the road. And yeah, we would love to see that until all legal and concerns, regulations have been looked into effectively. I know they can go down there with a GPS and go to the farthest cavern and go, boop, see, we're still here.
So we can ask that, and I'm not sure how we would craft that, but I want to confer with our attorney here. Is that, I know there's no legal, nothing legal that we can do, but this is just a political thing. It says, hey, we're concerned for these citizens in your city who have come to us. We'd like this investigated further and maybe, stop the explosions until we can figure this, you guys can figure this thing out. Give me your thoughts on that, your opinion on that.
I mean, certainly it's not typical. It's not something we would typically do. I think there are a couple different avenues we would get there. We could, if there's consensus from the commission. So first of all, we don't meet again for 2 weeks. So if you're looking for a resolution of the commission, it would be 2 weeks. Before that, if there was consensus from this commission, you could just authorize a letter to go out under the presiding commissioner's signature, and that could go out much sooner.
Okay.
Again, I don't know that one over the other has any more weight.
Right.
And certainly a letter from under the presiding commissioner's signature would go out quicker.
That might be a better, like you said, we don't meet again for another 2 weeks, so we couldn't pass a resolution for another 2 weeks.
Yep.
We can get a letter sent out, within a day or two. So maybe that'd be my recommendation.
Commissioner, may I make a suggestion on that? And that would be, and I will go back and recognize you for this, but as we go through the rest of the discussion, that might be a good, as we sum up our discussion, that might be the appropriate time to bring that up and also obviously get input from Commissioner Lawson, who's leading the subject. And so that way we can give a more comprehensive direction to staff. So if that's okay, we will go ahead as we get to the end of the discussion. I will recognize you and also Commissioner Lawson. You can even talk together if you want to, but let's go ahead and hear the rest of the testimony so that if there's some other issue that comes up that needs to be included or casts more light, we can give the clearest possible instruction to staff.
Okay, and I'll just push this back to Commissioner. I'll let her do that in your closing. I mean, unless you want me to, but you could take some credit for that, and we'll get a letter out by staff.
But we'll do that as we begin to round up the discussion, and then we will give instruction if that's acceptable to everybody.
So that will probably be what we do. I know Commissioner, our presiding commissioner mentioned this, but I would remind the people that are online that if you don't have anything different to add, people want to go home and get some dinner and go to bed. So
Me too. I want to be able to not have my post-traumatic stress syndrome come back every day at 4 o'clock from blasting too, sir.
Now, I'm sorry, have you finished your inquiry? So my understanding was the lady with the striped shirt, I think, was up for some time. Is that correct? Here's the way I'd like to go forward on this from this point now is the lady did have, I think, something to add. I'm sorry I didn't get to you sooner. So we'll go ahead and let you add because you had something at that point. Then I'm going to recognize Commissioner Wagner who would like to inquire of Mr. Jones. And then we will go start taking in witnesses as they have lined up. So you had something you wanted to say and you've been there for some time.
Well, I just want to say.
Oh, go ahead and identify yourself, please.
Pam Smith. My husband and I, Gary, live on 136th Street, which we are right across the road from the blasting. It has done damage to our home. We've had a cracked foundation that we've had to repair, which is very expensive. We are both retired. We are Clay County residents. That's all we are. You're our city. You're our council people. You've got to help us. Just because Idecker and Rodas has more than what we have in property, that doesn't make them be able to destroy our life, our home. We've been there for 30 years. and our property value is going down every day. The foundation of our home is cracked. Our basement walls are coming in. They want to tell us the insurance says, not our problem. We've had one neighbor that has spent $40,000 because their foundation has come in. Some rock quarry, and all the attorneys said, well, you can't prove that it was a rock quarry. It's freezing and zoning or freezing and thawing. How do they know it was that and not the rock quarry? If you can tell me that it is and prove that's what it is, that's different. You prove to me that it's not the rock quarry that's causing all of this damage all of a sudden. It's not fair to us smaller people that they get to make money and blossom while we lose everything we have. It's not right. It causes a lot of anxiety in our family. My husband is a veteran. He has PTSD, so you can just visualize what happens to him when they blast. Even though he knows it's coming, it's still, we don't have to watch the clock. We know what time it is when they start blasting. And to watch him suffer and jump out of a chair every day at 4 o'clock because they blast so bad. Our daughter was in the doorway. She'd never been there at the house when it blasted. And I won't repeat the words she said, but she thought we were having an earthquake. It's that bad, guys. You've got to understand. That's all I want to say, and the insurance companies will not help us.
Okay. I'm sorry. Okay, Commissioner.
And I would like
Yes,
to
ma'am.
invite you to the Mosby meeting on Monday at 6 o'clock. They're supposedly going to vote, from what we hear, whether they're going to annex Rotus's property or not. I don't think they can. Monday at Mosby City Hall.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Jones, if you'd come forward, Commissioner Wagner had a question of clarification, so that might be helpful. So we'll go ahead and do that. I see no other commissioners seeking recognition at the moment. Then we will resume with the next lady in line. So please proceed.
Thank you very much, and I'll just warn you, I got bonus stuff too as I've been listening, but Mr.
Oh, I'm sorry, you were unrecognized then.
Too late now, got the green light. So I do want to make sure I understand a couple things. One of them has to do with the regulation of the below-ground activity. So it has been suggested that the below-ground activity hasn't been regulated, but I think, Mr. Jones, you have talked to the state, and they have told you that everything seems to be within whatever parameters they say. So that suggests to me that somebody is supposed to be regulating that activity.
Yes, sir. So I spoke with the Missouri Mining Commission, and they indicated that they do quarterly inspections of only the underground mining, and that mine, and those inspections are unannounced, so they show up, and the mine does not know when they're showing up, and that mine is currently in good standing with that commission.
So and you may not be able to answer this question. I want to at least maybe jump to what I think is meant here. So what I'm hearing is Mosby does not do, sounds like really any regulation on their part. That's coming in loud and clear. So the question is, who is supposed to regulate? And is it our belief, position, understanding, whatever, that the mining operation, or perhaps any mining operation, is under the purview of either Missouri DNR if it's surface, or Missouri Geological if it's below surface?
Yes, and they should have to follow whatever the city regulations are.
So if there is a city regulation, now there may be absent city regulations, but whether there is or not, there is still state regulations that have to be followed.
Yes, sir. And the counselor was right. We do have an underground mine that was in unincorporated Clay County off of 210. It needed specific zoning and a conditional use permit. So underground mining is allowed in the unincorporated areas if certain
If certain things are done,
Correct.
followed and all that.
Yes.
Got it, understood. Okay, so I think that answers my question for you. Thank you very much, Mr. Jones. So my bonus question, and I apologize because you just sat down. I'm going to make you get up again. But I want to just make sure I'm hearing this right, so if you wouldn't mind. And let me say, as you do that, you have been an excellent advocate this evening for everybody here. I don't know if they're going to do anything for you afterwards, but they should, because you've done a good job tonight, and I want to recognize you for that. But the question I have is, as you brought up some of the drug issues that have been gone on, my colleague pointed out some of the issues related to the sheriff's office and how they're looking at things. But I do want to be very, very clear. Are we saying that the mine operation is causing the drug issue, or is the drug issue there, is just not being enforced or dealt with by the city of Mosby? I just want to make sure my causality here is correct.
So, two things. As far as the regulations that Mosby has, if the Missouri Mine Commission, right, comes in and says, hey, this is what they can do, blah, 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 and this is what they're authorized. I don't know if they actually, and I'm going to look this up because this is one of my questions down here. I'm going to look up and figure it out, and I'm going to do some research if that matters. Because if they're just saying, okay, all of our edges are good with the 45-degree angle, we're safe here, we have enough clearance here, and they're just worried about that in the mine,
Right.
and they're not actually going to say, oh my gosh, Mosby doesn't even authorize or regulate code for
Sure.
underground mining. I think that's where the conflict is with that.
Sure, that's fine.
And then
I just want to make sure that I'm understanding.
I don't think, here's what I think. I don't think that has anything to do with the mine.
Yeah.
However, I think that what we're running into is Mosby's so small that they're getting, Idecker runs Mosby basically is where I'm going with this.
Sure.
Okay. And because of that, right, there's nothing yet that we have found or that I have found that says, hey, this was an incentive or anything like that. But what's happening is there was a lady down there that had an empty building or something like that, and a couple people came there, and then more people found out, right? And so
Right.
Mosby has been dealing with that in what they can do with it. However, Mosby charges, I believe, 4-hour minimum for Clay County to come out there. They got a contract. They're trying to either solve it, got it sealed and dealed, or they're trying to figure that out right now.
Sure.
But they have a contract for it's a 4-hour minimum. So if they come out there for one issue, they get billed 4 hours. And I believe it's $200, $50 an hour for a Clay County sheriff to come out there. Every time I believe it's a 4-hour minimum.
Gotcha.
So that strains their budget. And if they're already low on budget, right, and they just paid to get a brand new water, they don't have the money to do that, so they're maybe not as likely to get the police down there.
So I'm following you. So the issue really is because the ability to enforce issues is limited.
Yes, sir.
People see that, they understand that, they take advantage of that, knowing that the likelihood that they may be caught is pretty low. So why not take the chance of doing this issue or whatever else? Is that?
Yes, sir, especially when you're a billion-dollar corporation.
Yeah, no, I got you. Okay, that helps me there, so thank you very much for that.
Yes, sir.
Then two other things. One is, and I'm glad we at least know when they're having a meeting on Monday, so
Yes,
thank you
sir.
for that. But it does strike me that if this is a habit of not noticing, not communicating when meetings are going to occur, that to me is a sunshine issue. With MEC, and I don't know if you've traveled down that road yet, but to me,
Yes.
okay, gotcha. Cool. Then the last thing, and this is where, I don't know what Representative Allen's looking at, but I'll address this one to you. You are a saint, sir, so you're not doing anything wrong. I'm sure of that. But it seems to me, and I'll just use this as an example, if you go to Worlds of Fun or Oceans of Fun, below you is a mine. Yet I've never heard anyone, at least in my elected life, complain about it. Maybe they did at some point, but I'm unaware of the last 15 years anyone making a complaint.
Yeah.
So somehow they're making it work and others are not. And it's also very interesting to me that if people are coming to the mine, whether they're looking at the surface or underneath, and they're saying nothing seems to be wrong, then either the enforcement's bad or the law is bad. And so I know you're going to look into the enforcement side of this, Representative, but I guess I would throw out there that there may be there may be something wrong with the law itself.
I agree.
Whether it's with standards or whatever the case may be, and right, and I come from the standpoint of if I'm asking someone to do something, then I better throw myself into that so that they know they're not alone. So I would certainly be happy to be involved in whatever way you would suggest to look at that state law, which doesn't necessarily solve the problem today, but it does say to me that there's a lot of craziness that seems to allow what's happening, and yet it seems to be okay, but clearly it's not okay. And whether that's an insurance-related law issue, whether that's the mining standard issue, I don't know. But I think somewhere in there are some state solutions that really need to be brought to bear because of the limitations we have.
Yes, I agree with that also. I agree 100%. There should be higher regulated codes for the state of Missouri.
Yeah.
The distances should be increased. Literally, legally, they can come within like 50 feet of my property line.
Yeah.
50 feet.
Yeah. So you know, not an instant solution for you, but I do believe there is a longer-term solution there. And Representative, however I can be of assistance on that, I'm happy to do that. You know I'm no stranger, unfortunately, to Jefferson City. So if something is required, which made to that earlier comment, and then I'll stop to that earlier comment, you know, we can do a letter. But I would also invite this group, as we look at next year's legislative priorities, that this may be something that we might want to put on there to show to the legislature, I know this can be important to you, to show that this is something that is a county priority for state law change. And I think that's something we can do. So I'm just trying to figure out how best can we help, knowing that there's some limitations to the help that we can provide. But I think those are things that we can do to help. And you and I will powwow over that, I'm sure. So, all right. Thank you very much.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
You bet.
Before we go forward, I believe Commissioner Lawson had a follow-up question from Mr. Jones. I'm sorry I didn't get it in here while Mr. Jones was up here, but if you can give him a moment. Commissioner Lawson, you're recognized.
Thank you, sir. Real quick, I think I misunderstood something you said. So when they come out and they do their inspection, they have a group that is looking primarily and does the inspection primarily every so often on surface mining, right?
Correct. My understanding is Missouri Department of Natural Resources regulates the surface mining, and the Missouri Mining Commission regulates the underground mining.
Okay, so if the plan is, if the documentation says they're supposed to be doing surface mining, and that particular group comes out and they look at how the surface mining is going, they're not going in and saying, what are you doing underground? All they care about is the surface and how it looks and how they're doing everything, right?
Correct, and I don't think the state will look at the local regulation at all. They don't.
Okay.
They don't look at whether Mosby allows underground mining or not.
Okay, great. And I will tell, oh, he walked away. There was, about 20 years ago, the people in Gracemore had a big hoo-ha over the mining that was done under Worlds of Fun. So there was that issue.
I was in that, that was the
If you need,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, if you're going to
Okay.
comment, we need to have you so
That
that's
was all.
recorded.
That was.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Kip.
Okay, so I am sorry that it's been a little bit circuitous route, but Madam, if you'd like to come up, identify, and again, anybody who wants to speak, please remember the green light needs to be on, identify yourself, and then address your comments to the commission. Please proceed.
My name is Chris McClaskey, and I live at 23407 Northeast 140th Street. And if you look on the map, the property being annexed is touching, it's coming right to the back of our property. And I have contacted all of you. Thank you, Joanne, for contacting me back, and Jason, I also got a message back from you, just haven't been able to meet with you. I have some answers to some of the questions you asked. I have the petition that we gave Mosby outlining some of the things that we requested from them, and I'm going to give that to you. I also have the emails from the Missouri Division of Fire and Safety I have my emails from the DNR. I also have the ordinance from Excelsior Springs for the annexation that you were asking about. I have that, and I'll leave that for you. And I also have our petition with 616 registered voters asking for something to be done. So I'm very pleased that you guys are going to take action. I ask that you take it to the fullest extent and not just a letter, but really push, and especially to stop the annexation, to stop the blasting until this all is settled. Because, you know, we need them to understand that this is hurting us. It's affecting our lives. A gentleman back here just reminded me, you also have the ability to request those surveys, and that would be also an area to go towards for you to ask for those so you can see what's been done. Because, you know, we don't know. We don't know what they're doing. They're not open with us. The only reason we stopped the annexation is because I got word that there was a meeting. And if we had not gotten word that there was a meeting of this annexation, this one would have went through again without any counteraction, because they are doing it under the table. And I wanted to really make that clear. The blasting can go up to 2.0, and the highest reading has been 1.8. That's only 0.3 away from 2 points. You know, it's just for them to think that a 0.3 is going to make that big, you know what I mean? So I would like to leave these with you. Give it to you. And thank you for listening and being.
I think we have someone who wants to inquire. And by the way, yeah, you know, if those can be distributed among the commission, that would be great. Commissioner Johnson, I believe you were seeking recognition.
Thank you. Real quickly, the petition, you turned that into the city, right?
To the city of Mosby?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And was there any response
We
from
also gave it to the city of Excelsior Springs.
Was there any response from either one?
Excelsior Springs told us that they were going to do everything they could to help us out, and they don't have a whole lot of stance because it's not in Excelsior, and that's why they're annexing, is to try and help us by stopping.
Did Mosby?
No.
Nothing?
We have not received
response at
anything,
all?
and you'll see in the petition, it's a list of things that we asked for, you know.
And how long ago did you turn it in?
When was the last? June meeting, the June, huh? Yeah, June meeting,
How long ago?
a month ago,
A month ago. Okay, and
the
then
1st of June.
Kip Jones, if you could stay right there, just give me a head nod, yes or no. Are you going to be able to request those surveys? Okay, yeah, so Kip Jones is going to request those surveys.
I've had multiple conversations with
yeah.
Kip Jones.
And one last thing I want to say, and I'll try not to talk anymore, but there's a lot of talk about IDECR, this company, and some kind of big influence they have. Just so you know, they don't have any influence on this commission.
I hope not.
Nobody does. And the only influence that is on this commission is the citizens of this county. So just know that. We don't.
We thank you for that.
They don't have enough money to buy me out.
I'm glad.
So-
Just like I said, this whole thing is coming right at my back door. Right now, my son and daughter-in-law were going to get married out in our pasture, looking out over this beautiful landscape.
Yeah.
Now I look at a big, huge thing of rock, and
Yeah.
it's always, it's got dust and everything else. So I appreciate you doing something.
And also, while my mic is still hot to that, if you can remember, County Administrator, that on that letter that we do send out, if we do send out a letter, to also mention that we have concerns about our airport too, being so close.
Just one moment, Commissioner Withington, I believe you sought recognition.
I just want to confirm, Monday, 6 p.m., Mosby City Hall. That
Yes.
address is 12312 4th Street. Is that correct?
Right?
Okay.
She won't answer me, so I guess it is.
Okay. Well,
I'm sorry, I wasn't looking at you, I was looking at her.
So you guys sent, is Susie Phillips here? Yes. Okay, I just want you to know, I forwarded your email to Jonathan Ketz and Matt Fleener and told them that they should maybe look into coming to your meeting on Monday, so.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Any further? I see no other questions. Next person, please.
David Rodas, 20212 Northeast 69 Highway, Liberty, Missouri. And I am the County Planning and Zoning Commissioner that's been addressed, and I kind of take it personal that my integrity was questioned. But when you talk about everything they do is within state and federal guidelines and tolerance, way under it. It's kind of one of those deals of who screams the loudest. But I'm going to give a little history lesson. I went back as far as I could find it. 1877 plat map for Clay County. My great-great-grandfather and great-great-uncle owned the ground that we're talking about. We've been on that land since the city of Excelsior has been a town. And, you know, in farming, growing up and farming all your life, you accumulate and you gauge your success by the legacy you pass on. And been fortunate enough that we got a valuable natural resource on our land. And it's something that I could pass on to my daughter, that she could, a value that she could make money off the land and be able to pass it on to the next generation. And everybody's trying to deny us that fact. And I just don't think that's quite right. You know, a little history lesson. In fact, Miss Lawson, your husband might have even been a commissioner at the time. When the Clay County purchased 470 acres to put the Clay County Airport in, my brother and I farmed and run cattle on every single acre of that. And that was an economic effect that we had to endure when the county did that. But we never said a word. We never opposition or nothing when that airport went in. We went on with our life and did our business so long. And I can remember Joe Davidson, the county director at the time, stood up in front of the barn and told my brother and I, he goes, boys, he goes, this airport comes in, this is going to make industrial and commercial development all around here. It's going to make your land worth so much money, you won't believe it. And I looked at him and I said, you know, Joe, I said, that's all right if we was in the real estate business, but we're farmers. And it's kind of ironic that the only commercial thing that's gone in is the rock quarry since the airport's been in, and everybody's wanting to shut it down. You don't realize that's an asset. You have to have rock, concrete, and asphalt for everywhere in the county. It's got to come from somewhere. And really, when it comes down to it, I think my family's, you know, we've earned and deserve more respect in this issue and what we're getting. If you have any questions for me?
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes, thank you, sir. I understand your position, but let me ask you, do you think it's fair what's happening to the people around? Do you think it's fair what's happening to the neighbors around?
Pardon me?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Is this on?
Yeah, I got hearing aids, so it makes it common.
Do you think it's fair what is happening to the neighbors?
You know, it's tough, but everything's within tolerance. You know, you talk about foundation crafts. You ever watch 9 and 10 o'clock news? There's multiple foundation companies advertising. You know why? Because everybody has foundation problems, and 99.99% of them don't live next to a quarry. We've got barns with floors that's actually, my niece's barn has been quarried underneath it, and it's got a concrete floor. There's no issues.
Okay, so then your position is that this is not having any impact on the neighbors, and no negative impact on your neighbors?
Well, everything's got an impact. We had an impact when the airport went in.
Okay, but we're talking about this. do you agree that this is having a negative impact on your neighbors?
Everything has an impact. When we sit up in our planning and zoning
Okay,
commission.
so yes, the answer is there a way to
I agree.
mitigate?
There's an impact.
Is
There's
there a way
always
to
an impact.
mitigate that impact?
Pardon?
Is there a way to mitigate that impact?
It's what?
Is this not working?
I have hearing aids,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, welcome to the club. I can't hear out of one ear, so, or this one, I can't hear out.
Too much loud equipment, I'm sorry.
So, yeah, same here, gunshots in this year. So nonetheless, the question is there a way to mitigate the impact that it's having on the neighbors?
The impact on my
mitigate.
neighbors, what about it?
Is there a way?
Try mine, see if it works better.
How about this? Can you hear me any better now?
That seems a little better.
Is there a way to mitigate the impact that this is having on the neighbors?
In my,
How do we fix it?
yeah, tell me.
How do we fix it? Yes. How do we help the neighbors? How do you fix it?
How do I fix it? Well, for one thing, if they get on my property, they're going to be heading west towards the airport, or towards the railroad tracks, to where it's going to be farther away.
Not to my house.
Okay, so you've heard you've heard the complaints tonight. So what I'm asking you is there a way that we can fix this, that you can help fix this, so that you can still do what you want to do, but and we cannot have the negative impacts on the neighborhood?
You know, sir, no matter what anybody does, there's going to be a negative impact on one side or the other.
Well, I don't agree with that.
That's just part of life.
I don't agree with that 100%. But at some point you got to.
And I understand your position, and I understand. Trust me, the first meeting down at Mosby, that was one of the hardest things I've done in my life, to have the whole neighborhood ever against me.
But you have to understand, at some point, there's a point to where the impact you have on other people becomes selfish, because it's all about you and you don't care about other people. At some point, you got to say, you know what? At what point is this just too much that I'm placing on my neighbors? And I'm not taking a side here, but from what I'm hearing tonight, they're here because the tolerance level, it's gone above what they can tolerate. And that's why they've gone to all these extremes. So my question is there anything that we can do, that you can do to help with that? So that
I guarantee you, I will be on the road deal more. You know, that is an issue with me too, and I will be on the road issue. Although I have to admit, 140th the county road's worse. You know. But,
Okay.
and I don't know, you'd have to talk to IDECR about, you know, but a blast's a blast, you know, and it's 15 seconds. You know, I mean, we have Learjets take off in front of the farm, and it rattles everything.
By the way, I just want to mention that let's try to stay away from any personal remarks. We've had, I think, a very good civil discussion, so let's just kind of keep it on an even keel. Commissioner Lawson.
Okay. I have to say, I've known the Rodas family for 40 years. So in fact, a little personal deal, my sister dated his brother. So I've known this family a long while. But, you know, I have to say, I get where you're coming from. I do, David. But think about it. You've got, how many people signed that petition? 600? Was it? You've got 600 people that are being negatively impacted versus the Rodas family. And you've been here forever. You know, to me, the land should be sacred to you. To have farmed a property as long as you have, I know how I feel about my little crap piece of acreage. And for you to own what you own and have done all that you've done farm-wise and been a good name in this community, it amazes me that you don't have more heart about this. I'm sorry. But can you tell me with 100% assurance that IDECR is not blasting underneath the ground?
No. Underneath, you mean underground?
Underground.
Oh, they're underground. They're permitted.
Okay. That's all I've got.
OSHA and MSHA is up them with a probe all the time. I mean, I know enough to be dangerous, but all the quarries and mining is federally and state regulated.
Yep.
It isn't municipalities because they don't have the capability. It's federal and state. And that I can guarantee you.
But is the state going out around the quarry and saying, hey, guys, how's it working for you?
And you know what? And it's just like the sinkhole deal. And the pond going, we've been in a drought. I mean, it's on our property. We know what's going on.
Yeah. Okay. I have no more questions.
Any other questions from any other commissioners? Thank you. And I think that Mr. Jones had mentioned that there were inspections going on. So, and he's going to be getting us more information on that. So it sounds like the state is doing some inspection. We just don't, at this board, we don't know how much right at the moment. So we're hoping to get more information so we have a little bit more ability to.
Honestly, Commissioner Nolte.
Yes.
You ought to set up an appointment and go down and visit and check things out. You know, I mean, there's two sides to all the stories. You know, and any of you, you know, I'd recommend that. You know, I mean, in all honesty, to give a fair opinion, you need to. Do I not? I mean, am I not right?
Come in.
Okay.
We'll try to set something up to where a number of us are down there.
Yeah. No, I mean, they're more than willing to answer any questions, show you around, whatever you need to know.
Okay. I think that makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
You bet.
Next citizen, please.
Hello, my name is Brad Wirths, W-I-R-T-H-S, and I live at 11422 Sackman Road in Liberty. I could probably throw a rock from my backyard and land in Mosby, that close. I want to talk about three things. I'm going to try to take less than 3 minutes. I want to talk about corruption, strategy, and speed. And so in mid-2007 and all the way through 2008, several of our neighbors went to every meeting in Mosby because they were going to start a quarry. And Idecker was in partnership with Cecil Troutwine, who is an investor that bought up a bunch of that land. So we started attending all of those meetings because we identified that corruption. We tracked payments to council members from Mr. Troutwine, who'd been elected as their city manager or city planner. And so there was a conflict of interest in addition to the fraudulent activity. And so we helped turn over that council so that we could get some people in there that were more helpful and would help spend the time. We helped them try to do research. I made calls to Missouri DNR and the geological departments and learned more about blasting regulations and particulate matter than I ever thought I would as an IT guy. But we felt like we needed to participate and spend the time because what you don't get in the strategy part of things is the planning. We may not know the strategy that Idecker has or the city of Mosby has or what Rodas has for his business. I don't know the guy, sorry. But we can bet they're spending more time on it than the state or the county is spending on watching and investigating and making sure that all these regulations are in place and being followed. You've heard that there are not some of these, the city of Mosby may not have some of these laws set up, and we help them put some in, but how many do we need to look for? We're not experts in this field, and so how can we make sure that all of those are in place to protect ourselves? And so that's why we're here asking for more help to see if there's something you can do on top of the city of Mosby. And so that gets to that other strategy. We also met with, I don't remember the quarry operator's name, off of 435 South, just off of the old Bannister Road. And when we met with him, he talked about the way they actually manage their operation. For example, one small example is just the dust that comes up from all the blasting and everything. They have sprayers on top of this levee that goes all the way around it, a beautifully decorated levee, by the way. So everyone around it looks at a landscaped levee with sprayers on top and almost never sees any of the dust. They have particular times that they do their blasting, and they actually have announcements and, a site where you can check it out. So they're much more forward with their communications than IDECR is. So in addition to that original corruption we found in Mosby, and then the somewhat devious practice that you're hearing about from IDECR, that's the stuff that goes unnoticed. And so I don't know what else, we can do or what help you can give us or guidance to get that help. But the third thing was speed. And so you mentioned you can do a letter and do something in 2 weeks, and we can do something next year in a plan. But the problem is the quarries move much faster than that. And when I talked to the DNR, they said once a quarry operation gets in place, it's extremely hard to stop them from forward motion, no matter what it is, even if it's hurting 600 people right next to it, or the people like me south of that who would feel it next because they're going to come south at some point. There's no way to stop it from two reasons. One, there's nobody paying attention that closely, and the other is all those quarries are making money. Missouri is a big quarry state. We have lots of limestone, and it is a big part of our business, and quarries are a necessary evil for all of our roads, construction, et cetera. We all want that. But there isn't any focus on the kinds of activities that end up hurting, and that's what we need help with. And so if you can guide us or tell us what we can do extra, let us know. We'll spend the time. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, sir. Next citizen, please.
My name's David McClaskey. I live at 23407 Northeast 140th Street. I'm here representing myself and my mother of 87 years old. David?
Excuse me, sir.
I'm sorry.
When you're not speaking into the microphone, we can't hear you.
I've known David Rodas since I was 10 years old.
Okay.
I've lived on the property that I'm on for 53 years. In 53 years, we went from a hog operation of turning out 300 head, and then we had people move in. Residences come in. We fully understood that. We shut down our hog operation because we knew it wasn't going to happen. People weren't going to be happy with it. We had people coming out with putting houses on 5, 10 acre plots all around us, And now we find out that Rodas's in 2011 proposed this thing that's going to just destroy what we have fought for 53 years, what I have fought for 53 years. 53 years of sweat equity into the property that I'm on. It's being destroyed every day. Every day when they blast at 4 o'clock, all I see is dollar signs leaving my property every day. Every day. And if that's not a county problem, I don't know, I thank you guys so much for listening to us tonight because I felt like we have gotten nowhere. David talks about the legacy of being able to have something for his daughter and all this type thing. Well, he's got a pretty good tree operation just south of me on the property that they're wanting to annex. That's not going to stop. He's going to double dip on that property. He's going to take money from the quarry that they're getting underneath of him and just keep on planting trees on top. So, it seems like a plus for him, big minus for all of us. I think that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person, please.
Thank you. My name is Dave Thomas. I live on Cameron Road, north of the quarry. The county believes that you may not have standing right now. I would say you don't know that. I would say you absolutely have an interest, but if they're underground mining on your county land, you absolutely have standing. If they're violating some other laws, you absolutely have standing. For example, if that gentleman is supposed to be doing that survey every quarter, that's every 90 days that the state is supposed to have him there doing a survey, attempting to determine the underground mining piece of that, right? Now, I have 21 years in the military, and I might have dabbled for a bit in the federal and state government, about 47 years worth of my career. I can personally tell you that documents are paper whipped all day long. People go half-ankle, they might come in, sit down, have a cup of coffee with Joe. That would be coffee, right, Joe? Or Joe, whoever. Get done, say, hey, great job, and next thing you know, that survey's done. I would also say, you bet, you make an appointment. Come on down, we'll show you the business. Well, I will tell you from professional experience, the best experience is to show up unannounced, because that's the only way you're going to really know what's going on, because they're going to set it up for you to see it. It's a little bit like my son's frat house. Just saying. Had a mother's room, bring them on in there, set them down. The boss will tell you she was there, right? And then we get the tour, and there'll be a whole bunch of doors closed, and the ones that were open, the beds were made nice, all that stuff. If you ever made your way up in there when they didn't know it, oh my goodness. So I just took the approach, I didn't want to know what I didn't know. What does that have to do with this? Well, it has a lot to do with this, ladies and gentlemen. I would also say that you may have the issue of conflict of interest to be concerned about. You see, there doesn't have to be an actual conflict of interest. There just needs to be an appearance of a conflict of interest that you can't pass, that they should in fact consider removing themselves from the issue. Those are all public votes, public record on the votes. Would you agree? So you should be able to go back historically and look at every vote that had any kind of connection with land or IDECR or zoning or whatever, for anybody, whether it's the president of the commission or anybody else, and see exactly how they voted or if they recused themselves in that. That'll tell you. It's not hard to do. It just takes an administrative clerk, if you wish that person to do it, a period of time in order to research the records. But here's the challenge, you see, because you have a tremendously frustrated number of folks right there. Oh, by the way, my wife was driving our car south on Cameron Road, and one of the large trucks was coming north on Cameron Road, and another one that typically comes out of that quarry. They don't stop for oncoming traffic. Why? Well, because guess what? That Jaguar and that dump truck, who's going to win? So what did she do? She had to stay in her lane. She blew out 2 tires, blew them out on Cameron Road. What did IDECR do? I'll tell you what they did. They stood up and did the right thing. They paid for the tires, they paid for the alignment check, they paid for the whole bit, and then they had her sign a liability release to make sure that she wouldn't say anything else and have any other claim, right? Where was Clay County Sheriff? They weren't there. No harm, no foul. There was no injuries. Car was fixed beautifully. Now look, they stood it up. They paid for it. But isn't that the point? Isn't that what these folks have attempting to been telling you? It's been my job for 47 years to maybe do the right thing and the hard thing that a lot of people don't like. Maybe. What I do for a living is irrelevant to this conversation, except to say, I know this much, it's public knowledge, should be. The FBI's public corruption unit, they're fantastic because they have no friends and they're ruthless. They do a great job. And sooner or later, these very influential lobbyists and corporate figures and folks with a lot of money that seem to be able to make a lot of these business deals work regardless of state law and federal law. Look, good lawyers make good money for a reason, right? My son's a lawyer. I'm just telling you, the way you make more money an hour being a lawyer is being good at what you do. Because if you're not good at what you do, you'd be a public defender, God bless you. We need them too. But the point is, they'll find legal loopholes. I challenge you to not let them find them. To do the right thing, take a close look. Now look, if you don't have standing, so be it. You don't have standing. If you don't have interest in it, so be it. But don't make those decisions until you really, really, really take a deep look at what's really going on and know if they're mining underground on your county or not. Know if those quarterly survey reports were actually done. Know if you're building, if those folks have recused themselves from all the appropriate votes. Know all of that business, then make a decision. Politicians are wonderful. I take care of a lot of them. But here's the shortcoming. Just like me in my job, you can only make decisions based on the facts that are presented in front of you and at the time you have to make it. I just urge you to please consider don't make it until you're fully informed. Thanks for your time.
Yes, please.
My name is Sally Denny. I live at 23817 Main Street, Mosby, Missouri, and I am a council member for the city of Mosby. This meeting has been very hard on me to have individuals come up here and put Mosby down the way that they have. We do have a budget, and we go by our budget. We know what we're doing. Mrs. McCloskey stated earlier, I am the one that contacted them and told them that this was going to happen, that the annexation was going to happen. We are having a meeting on the 30th. There will be no vote taken at that time. Our council member meeting will be July the 3rd. There will be no vote taken there. The vote when we take on this annexation will be done on July the 14th. Everything has always been published in the paper when we've had these meetings. I believe they talked about one in 2022 when Renee was annexed in. The attorneys for that annexation did put it in the paper. Unfortunately, they put it under Ray County, not Clay County. That was not on the city of Mosby. That was on the attorney for Renee Rodas. We have always published our meetings at our city hall office and at our mailbox offices. They're always posted 24 hours ahead of advance for our regular meetings. And yes, we do not have police protection out there this time. We have signed a contract with Clay County. It's in the works as soon as we call them today, and I believe within the week, we will have somebody patrolling our city at 4 hours at a time. Yes, it is expensive, but it's less expensive than it is to try to put our police department back in force. And like I said, I've been very hurt the way Mosby's been put down with some of this stuff. As far as the signatures, Mosby did receive the signatures, but we did not receive 600 signatures that was turned in to us at the first meeting. It was a little over 300. And I think if you will look at some of those on that paper, they're from not even in the United States. They're out of the country. They are, because the addresses are there. And I don't know how that would constitute helping the annexation of something in Mosby, Missouri. This is all I really have to say. And we did get the information sheet where they ask all the questions, but it was not in the form of a sunshine law rule. So we did not realize that we had to act on this because it was not as a request by the Missouri Sunshine Law. Everything that we have received from Sunshine Law, we have responded to the best of our knowledge. And like I said, it hurt to sit there and have us be put down the way I was born and raised in that town. I still live there, and it was very hurtful to hear some of the things that was said about my little town. And that's all I wanted to say.
Could you hold on a moment? Commissioner Johnson, do you want to inquire the lady? Oops, hold on. There you go.
First of all, thank you so much for being here. I really
Yes.
appreciate it. And quite frankly, it's very bold of you to be here. I appreciate the courage that you show to be here.
And it took a lot for me to get up here and do this.
What's that?
It took a lot for me to get up here and
No,
do this.
yeah.
Because I sat here and there was several untruthful things that was said here tonight. I mean, they're thinking this is the way it's happening. They think this is what's going on, but they don't know for sure.
Right. And that's one of the things that we all as electeds need to try and communicate better.
Yes.
And fix those. And so a couple of questions I have. First of all, the petitions that was given to you, was that regarding the annexation or was that regarding the mining that's being done?
we received the signatures for people that did not want it to happen,
What to happen?
the annexation.
Okay.
Part of that was actually written on paper. I believe they went to Walmart and done some of that, and done some in their community. And the other was done on the computer.
So, okay, so I was confused. I thought that petition was for the or it was for the, because of the mining that was going on and the issues that it was causing. So that's not what the petition was for then.
Stop from annexing.
It's just to stop from annexing, okay. And then, I guess more of a general question, you see the problems that,
I do.
how upset people are.
I do.
And that now they've come to the county for this issue. Is there any thoughts on how this can be remedied at the city level and help with, I mean, you got a lot of folks that are upset.
I know we do. And it's very hard on us, and the reason why it has not been voted on yet, because we wanted information like from a meeting like tonight. We were trying to gather our own information on some of the stuff that's taking place.
You're talking about the annexation?
The annexation,
Okay,
yes.
I'm not talking about annexation. I want to talk about the damage and the concern of these explosions and this mining going on, which they're very upset about.
And somebody made the comment that we should feel it in Mosby. We do not feel it in Mosby. Of course, we're not as close as these people. Occasionally, I may hear a boom and know that it was probably the rock quarry. But I just, and I feel for these people, I really do. But until this annexation that's trying to take place now, we've not heard from any of these people in the last 3 years since Renee's been annexed in.
Okay, so I guess I'm not following this right. These explosions, this mining that's taking place, that's in the city of Mosby, right?
Yes, sir, it is.
And it's upsetting people in the city of Mosby and surrounding the city of Mosby.
To my knowledge, I've not heard anybody in Mosby say that it's upsetting.
Does anybody here live in Mosby? Okay,
She's
just one.
another. I mean, there was some at one of our meetings that voiced concerns.
And then you saw the map that Kip Jones put up of all, how basically.
Yes, I did.
It's hitting a lot of areas there, but as was mentioned, it's in your city.
Right.
So that's a concern, obviously. It's a concern. That's why we have so many people here and others
Yes.
that are. How do we fix that?
That's why we haven't voted on it yet, because we're trying to figure that out ourselves.
Okay, but you're talking about voting on annexation. I don't care about that. What I care about is what's happening today.
Okay.
The explosions that are happening today, the mines happening today, the things that's rattling people, literally rattling people's cages with those explosions and what they claim is damages to their homes and property. What do we do about that?
I'll be honest, I don't know.
Now, is Mosby doing anything as far as inspections out there?
Yes, they are. They actually went out this afternoon and inspected the sinkholes.
And is Mosby doing anything about checking neighborhoods that even are outside of the city, like checking with folks that, like here, that are complaining that, hey, there's damage to my property, this is the noises that I'm hearing every day?
Not to my knowledge,
Do you do
no.
anything with checking on that?
No.
Well, that would be outside of your jurisdiction, would it not?
Well, it'd be
Yes,
outside,
it would. It would be outside.
it'd be
of
outside
our-
the city of Mosby, but at the same time, it'd be a good
Right.
neighbor. It'd be a good neighbor because they're.
Like I said, I'm the one that went to McCloskey's and told them that the first meeting was going to happen.
Yeah.
And we did not know as the council that this was coming, and the attorneys brought us the paperwork to do this. And we immediately chose not to vote because we were not fully aware about what was going on.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these people, half of these people were very good friends of mine, but
Sure.
to have them stand up here and degrade me and not me, but the city, the way that some of them have, it hurt. Yes, we have a drug problem in Mosby. You know what? There's one in Excelsior. There's probably one here in Liberty, too.
Well, I think if I could comment, I don't think they're degrading you by any chance. And as a matter of fact, I give you lots of kudos for being here tonight and for the courage you're showing. But what I think they're concerned about, frustrated with, and we all are, is the system. and the way that this is working, and the way that this can happen. It can disrupt so many people, and everybody feels helpless about it because it's somebody else's fault, and nobody's taking. And as elected officials, that's our job.
Right.
The buck stops here. We got to take responsibility. We'll do as much as we can, but we're limited. You're not as limited as we are when it comes to what happens in your city. And that's why I'm saying, what can happen in your city that you can do, that you know of? And if you don't know of anything, my suggestion would be is to ask this to stop until you guys can come up with something and work with the neighbors, and not just people in Mosby, but the people that are affected around it. I mean, that would go a long way, I think, with a lot of folks. You say, hey, let's just stop this for a little while. Let's have a what are they doing with Iran, and what's that? Moratorium. No, what's a ceasefire? Yeah, let's have a ceasefire. For a little while until we can work together to figure something out. And it doesn't necessarily mean that there won't be any mining,
Right.
but maybe there's some way to work this out. Like Commissioner Wagner said, apparently it's happening underneath Worlds of Fun, which I never knew of, and nobody knows. It's like, it'd be great if it could happen in Mosby and nobody knows about it. But that'd be my suggestion to you. Again, it's your city.
Right.
But as the leader of that city, it's like, someone's got to say, listen, we got to fix this. The system isn't working right. Let's fix this system. Let's put this on hold for a minute, and let's talk with these folks. Even if they don't live in our city, let's talk to these folks. Say, what can we do to make this better, to make this right? And talk with the IDECI or whatever it is. IDECR.
Almost every person in here has been to all three meetings that we've had.
Yeah.
So has IDECR, so has Mr. Rodas.
Yeah.
And if I did not care the way I did and
Yeah.
was concerned about this,
Yeah.
I would have never told McCloskey's about this going to happen.
Yeah.
Because I know where they live, went to church with these people,
Sure.
and it's been very, like I said, it's been very hard
Yeah.
for me, so.
No, I get that, and I appreciate that. But bottom line, there's still a problem.
Yes,
And
there is.
we got to figure out a work
There
to
is.
work that. And obviously, you want to do that.
Yes, I do.
But yeah, I don't know the solution. I'm not in Mosby, but there's got to be something out there. There's got to be something. And I guess my suggestion would be, let's figure out a way, and we'll do anything we can do to help as well. But let's figure out a way, and it might be just ceasefire for a little bit here till we can put something together that's a win-win for everybody. That's just my suggestion.
And the meeting Monday night is a public hearing that was called by David's attorney. And it's basically, I guess it's going to be they will present their side, and then these people will be there also, and then they will voice their concerns again. No, you will be able to talk Monday night. It was the last meeting we had. We asked for no one to voice any concern because they had already done it once. There will be the ability to talk Monday night after this meeting.
Okay. And I actually have one more question for David. Can I ask David a question real quick?
Certainly. David, would you care to? Yes.
So,
Mr. Rodas.
sir, you've heard the allegation that there's mining going on outside of Mosby and into the county.
There's not.
It's not. And you own the property?
My niece.
Okay. So you have control of that property and access to it. Who can be on it, who cannot be on
Drive
it?
up the road every single day, about 10 times. Yes.
Okay. And what if I show up there unannounced? Can I take a look at it?
I invited you guys to
Yeah,
come
unannounced though. Can I show up unannounced?
Pardon?
Can I show up unannounced?
You can go to my property, yeah, if you want to
And
follow
can
me.
I mean, I'll call you when I get there, but can I bring Kip Jones with me and show up unannounced, and you can show me where the mining stops and starts, and
Okay.
is that cool?
I mean, I don't know the exact pinpoint. I know a general area.
Okay. All right, that's all. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the thing is, for us to do unannounced, I mean, if the man's not home, do we then just trespass onto his property, or what's the? I'm a little worried about the way that sounds. Commissioner Lawson. Well, I mean, the thing is, I mean,
As long as my pickup's there, I guarantee you.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're not there, we can't just barge onto your
No,
property.
Trust me, don't go there without me.
Sure, hold on a sec.
Yeah, just
There
for
you go.
clarification, I'm not going to be walking around your property without you there. But I may show up at the gate and call you and say, hey, I'm here.
Okay.
Okay?
we can head that way just as soon as I leave here. After this is
And
over.
obviously, the reason why I'm saying this is because there's some people that are worried that hey, if we schedule a time, something's going to be covered up. I don't think that, but this way we know. All right. Thank you, sir.
Yep, not a problem.
Commissioner Lawson. Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry. Go ahead and push your button again, please. There you
Okay,
go.
Thank you. When you go, I want to go. Please. I'd like to talk to the lady from Mosby.
Yes.
Oh, thank you very much for coming. I do appreciate it, and I know it wasn't easy for you. But the thing that I think these people would like to see is that you do not annex any further property of Mr. Rodis's, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And do you feel, given enough information from all of these people, that you would even consider, the city of Mosby would consider not expanding that operation?
Correct.
Okay, all right. Well,
yeah.
Okay. Because initially, I don't think you understood how impactful this was.
Oh, I understand fully.
No, I mean at the beginning, when it first was brought up.
Well, yeah, okay.
Oh, no, I mean, when it first was brought forward to you, did you understand how impactful it would be?
Yes, I did, because
Oh,
they've
okay.
been, when Renee's got annexed, they had concerns and other stuff, so, yeah, I'm fully concerned. I know what's going on, yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Well, I look forward to seeing you on Monday night.
Okay.
Was there anyone else who cared to speak? Please come forward. Yeah, I mean, I think both of you gentlemen, I would give precedence to someone who hadn't spoken, but I don't see anybody, so please go right ahead, sir.
Very good. So let's just get some clarification on the fine lady from Mosby. What I just heard is that Mosby is essentially disengaged from the issue of the quarry because the residents that are in Mosby proper, which are south of, as you well know, south of both sides of 69, on the other side of the black tar plant, blacktop plant, back in there, as long as those citizens of the town of Mosby aren't impacted, the town of Mosby is essentially disengaged to the quarry piece, is what I just heard. The second piece is she talked about the public hearings that folks had an opportunity to attend and be heard. Well, I will tell you that, yeah, there were some folks got heard, right? But the mayor stood in front of one and told them all to shut up, et cetera. So don't believe that those are the typical public political hearings that are structured and open with a schedule, because they're not. It just isn't. And again, it's simply because as it was presented, I would propose maybe it's just a little bit above what the town of Mosby's political body is able to really deal with. Additionally, in one of the hearings, well, you say no, but that's okay, you have that right.
Hold on a second. Just a minute, sir. Please, could the people in the crowd, I understand that you may be speaking among yourselves, but the gentleman has the floor, and we need to be able to hear him, and quite honestly, sometimes it's a little difficult to hear the
Is it?
speaker.
I apologize.
No, it's not that, but it is doubly more difficult if someone is speaking over the person who has the floor, so please extend the respect to each other to have their say. Please continue.
And then those same hearings had some folks who believed that they were influential, that were part of the gravel operation, that worked to intimidate some of the folks there. And unfortunately, some of those folks are able to be intimidated. Now, some aren't, and good for them. But there's no reason why any citizen should be intimidated by anybody for any reason at a public hearing, period. And they were. And ladies and gentlemen, that's a shame. Now, I will tell you, no issues here, absolutely. I appreciate that. But they were. And somebody can say, no, they weren't. Well, you know what? Yeah, they were. And yeah, you did. And they know who they are. Shame on them. The last thing I would say, the lady said that Mosby just had somebody go out and do a survey. Today or yesterday, whatever that was, maybe Mosby might consider making that public record, what that survey looks like, so you can have a copy, so we can have a copy to see exactly what that survey really means, because quite frankly, Jerry, what your definition, Mr. Northey, what your definition of what a survey might be, or you, Mr. Johnson, or anybody else, may not have been what the definition of the person who allegedly conducted that survey, in depth or breadth, or professionalism, whatever it be. It may be a top-notch survey. That's great. Let's see what it looks like. It may not be. It may just say, you know what, we've done a survey. Yeah, okay. I did a traffic report too, and it didn't work very well. All right? That's all I have. Thank you so very much.
Okay. Thank you. Next citizen, please.
Hi, Brad Wirtz again. I limited my time and forgot to ask my question. Somewhat rhetorical, but it has to do with strategy. And so I wonder what the strategy is for Clay County around the airport, around that area, and do you have a strategy and a plan that matches what Cecil Troutwine did way back in 2005 and 6 when he actually told us he had a consultant firm come in and tell him to find a place in Missouri where he could find rail, airports, and roads within a proximity so that he could develop that and buy the land around it and start the development. In order to do that development, he needed a quarry and a asphalt plant and concrete manufacturing and all of that. And so it's a great idea, but what it didn't come with was the human side of that, the more emotional side of taking care of all the neighbors. And I think that's what you're seeing. And what I'm asking you is there something you can do from the county to match that plan up or figure out how to prepare for those kinds of plans and be ready so that we can actually do better communication, as you mentioned. So, and that's it. Thanks.
Next person, please.
Phoebe is spelled Phebe. I live at 12315 4th Street, Mosby, Missouri, catty corner from City Hall, and I too am a council person. And when this issue first came up and they say that we don't care, I came to City Council on May 5th. And 5 minutes later, after I'd been handed the paperwork about it, the lawyer that wanted the annexation to happen stood up and asked us to vote for that annexation to be approved. I wouldn't approve of something, vote to approve for something that I hadn't even had time to really read. And so for people to say we don't care is wrong. We do care, and the reason we asked for it to be tabled first of the 1 month and then one more month is because we don't want to vote emotionally. We want to vote intelligently. We want the facts. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Please go right ahead.
Yeah, we definitely are not, again, Nathaniel Beagley, 13716 Cameron Road.
Could you speak a little?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm about to turn this up. But so we are not trying to talk negatively about Mosby at all. That's not what we're trying to do. That Mosby has some very good, serious issues. But we have given Mosby a chance to contact us. On May 1st was the meeting where they proposed the annexation, and that lawyer came through from IDECR and did the whole proposal and all that. They then did another meeting where they started to get more in depth with it because we said, no, we want you to deny this annex, okay? So we also have video from the Excelsior Citizen as well. He's been at all those meetings where the mayor did tell us to basically sit down and shut up or I'm gonna kick everybody else out of here. So to say that there's a lack of professionalism there at that is a true statement. It is not a false statement. Also as well, you guys, Mr. Rhoda said you can come to his house. You can show up at my house and you can 100% call me. My number is 816-591-0776. You can call me. Miss Joanne Lawson, I believe, has my number as well. And you can show up and we'll go sit in my house and we'll drink some coffee or drink a Dr. Pepper and you can watch my house shake and listen to those blasts. Mosby on that May meeting had no idea from Guy Holt, and the mayor had no idea that they were underground right now. And the reason for that is because they don't allow underground mining in Mosby. So they had went ahead and already did that in preparation for the annex to go through silently underneath everybody, and that's what that really is all about. So it's not that Mosby is being targeted as angry at Mosby. The situation at Mosby is devastating, is what it is. So that's all we're trying to say here. There's no hard things at Mosby. Okay, and that's all I have, sir.
Okay. By the way, I do want to make sure everybody has a chance to speak. I think we've been at this for a while, and we're getting a little bit repetitious, but we certainly do want to make sure everybody has the opportunity to express their opinions. So is there anyone else who would like to come forward? Certainly, come right ahead, sir.
Dave McClaskey, 23407 Northeast 140th Street. Mr. Johnson, you made that you would like to see the county try to make up some kind of letter for the quarry to cease operations until something is taken care of. So it would be my understanding that the city of Mosby could do that right now. It would be within their jurisdiction to go to Idecker Quarry and say, you cease operation now. Is that what I'm understanding? It would be within their authority to do that.
I don't know about their rules and how their planning and zoning and all that kind of permitting stuff works for, I would imagine they have some control over that, but you'd have to talk with them about that. I certainly don't want it to sound like we're encroaching on Mosby or running Mosby or anything, but I certainly hope there's a way they can work that out with y'all.
From what you were saying was that your guys' hands are kind of tied in that, but they would be the authority that would be able to do that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's their jurisdiction, not ours.
Right.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other citizens? Seeing none, since this is Commissioner Lawson's issue, I'd like to go ahead and recognize her to go ahead and say whatever closing remarks, and I think there was talk of perhaps tasking staff to put some kind of letter together, so this would be an appropriate time to possibly go forward with that. Commissioner Johnson, if you have any input as we go along, just please get my attention.
I want to thank all of you for coming tonight. It's been a pleasure working with you, and I really enjoyed getting a chance to meet most of you the other evening. We will go full speed ahead as we can, knowing that we can't make Mosby, make a decision. We certainly will try to come to the meeting, let our opinion be known, and we will be sending the letter. And then I think maybe we can do a resolution once we come back after the holidays and all. But please know that this commission does care about the citizens of Clay County. That's why you put all of us in office. And we're going to do everything that we can to assist you. It is a bad situation. You want industry to be in your county. You want them to be successful, but you have to take into account when things start to impact as many citizens as this is. There's got to be some kind of a in-between here where we can help them to continue to work, but not be blasting underground, whatever it takes. But I think it's not going to be something that happens tomorrow. I know that Bill Allen will do everything he can on his part, and we'll do what we can do on our part. And we'll work together with our planning and zoning people to see that we can try to get everything resolved so that you guys can enjoy why you moved to Clay County and protect your property. So God bless you all, and thank you for coming, and we'll continue to work on for you.
Okay. I was going to say, because we haven't tasked staff with anything, and I think if we're going to do that, if we go that route, perhaps the best thing would be to have the administrator circulate any kind of a letter that would go out under the commission so that we could get response from that. Is that, what do you feel you need, Mr. Administrator? Because I mean, I don't want to just kind of leave you hanging with a lack of instruction.
Well, yeah, that's what I said, I'll come in tomorrow, we could work on it.
Is that good with everybody on the commission? Okay, just want to make sure we have consensus. Okay, very well. So the instructions will be Commissioner Lawson will come in and share some information with you. Then once we have something put together, circulated among the other commissioners for comment, possible additions or whatever alterations, and then kind of go from there. Is that, does that sound good? All right, very good. With that, I don't see anyone else wishing to speak this evening. We are going to go ahead and close this discussion. We've been going for quite a little bit, and we have a lot of people here. We do have one more discussion item on, and we have a couple of other pieces of business. Any citizen who's here is certainly more than welcome and stay for the rest of our meeting. At this point, I think what I'm going to do is we're going to stand at ease for about 5-10 minutes, so that allows everyone who wishes to leave can do so, and then we will go ahead and take up where we left off on our second discussion item. That will allow kind of everyone to leave, and it'll kind of cut down on the noise that we might be having. So with that, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here, and you're welcome to stay, and you're welcome to come to any future meetings. Thank you. All right, we seem to be down a few people in our gathering here today. We will come back from standing at ease. Thank you very much for your patience tonight. We have one more discussion item, then a couple of other issues, so we will try to go through as expeditiously as possible. The next item for discussion is discussion regarding appointments to the Kansas City Zoological District Commission. Mr. Administrator, if you want to, I'm not sure there's very much to introduce there, but if you'd like to say something to bring it about.
Yes, good evening. We have the discussion item regarding appointments to the Kansas City Zoological District. It's one of the items you guys had discussed earlier and wanted to come back to the commission regarding it. So we're bringing it back as a discussion item for you guys, for the commission to move forward regarding it.
Okay. Commissioner Withington, you are recognized.
Hey, I appreciate you guys putting this on the agenda after I requested it. It sounds like we have not had a actual appointment for the commission since 2019. It sounds like the commission appointment expired and it was never reactivated. So I would like to nominate Commissioner Jay Johnson to be the commission representative for this board and bring it back to the commission for approval. This one is different than all the other boards. State law says that the commission gets to appoint somebody, and so I'd like to nominate Jay Johnson. I've talked to Jay. Jay's expressed interest in serving in this capacity, and so just to this is separate than the one that the Friends of the Zoo get to appoint. That one's a separate one. This one is just the commission appointment, and I'd like to nominate Jay to serve in that capacity.
Okay, thank you. Obviously, you're talking about nominating him at a future meeting.
So I'm hoping that we can come to an agreement tonight, and then since we haven't been in compliance with state law on this, we could have an official ordinance in 2 weeks with Jay's name. So.
Okay, I'd like to, because I'm obviously the one who's been here, I guess, the longest. I'll go ahead and give a little bit of history on this, just for the sake of the others. When I first got elected to this office in 2014, obviously, like anybody, and our administrator is experiencing it right now, when you first get elected or appointed, you drink through a fire hydrant. When I was first brought into this office, what I was told at that time was that there was one seat for the presiding commissioner, and the other one was voted on by the commission. Enough stuff was going on to where I said, okay, and nobody objected, so I was like, okay, here we go. I've never had occasion to revisit that, so I've not really looked at the ordinance on that. However, in our work with Commissioner Johnson, he had asked me to pause on that so we could research it, and I was happy to do so. So I paused it at his request. We could research it, and I did. I reached out to the counselor and got the statute. And yes, it is going to be something that we're going to have to work on. So this is part of a discussion that we're going to be having. And it is one of the things that was brought up was whether or not we had been receiving reports. Actually, I believe we have. Those are generated by the district commission, that is to say the taxing district commission, and they are submitted to the county government. The most recent one of those annual reports, which is referred to in statute, was passed about 2 weeks ago. I now have a copy of it. I was speaking with our new administrator earlier, and I said, now that I have that, I would like to go ahead and make sure he gets it for distribution. I think you probably sent me your email at this point. If not, go ahead and send it. But I'm going to send it to the administrator, so he can then disperse it amongst the county commissioners. It is correct that the other member would be put into place through a process of submitting 3 names, and then they would be selected by the commission. That would be from Friends of the Zoo. I would like to say that I think The other part of this is that our next meeting of the zoo taxing district is September. So we do need to handle this. Do we need to handle it at this very moment? No, I in fact would be interested in perhaps serving further on that commission. And I also think that because this is a commission post, I think we need to have the opportunity for any commissioner who has an interest to submit their names. Because it just seems fair, and then go from there on that. But we need to be able to make sure that we are following these steps, because there is no big hurry at this moment. We do want to be in compliance, but quite frankly, I didn't hear anything from the Friends of the Zoo either on this. So we are now in the process of doing that, and I think the Friends of the Zoo, I would guess, are going to be putting together their process, because they've never submitted that panel of 3 people in the past.
Okay, well, so that's fine that they do that, but what we are talking about is something opposite of the Friends of the Zoo. We're talking about the one that says...
Commissioner, could I go ahead and finish what I was going to say? I appreciate your questions. I do want to get to them. The point behind that is that this is something that's come up as relatively new. I don't know how many commissioners have had a chance to look at the statutes. I would like to make sure that they do. I don't have a problem with us doing that. We've got 2 weeks, obviously, until our next meeting. So what I am suggesting is that we put together a process whereby any commissioner who is interested put their name forward, and then we discuss it and we make a selection on this body.
Okay, so that's fine. So that's why we're having a discussion tonight. So I think we could take nominations tonight if anybody's interested, and then we can have the vote in 2 weeks.
No, I don't think so, because we're missing a commissioner. I have no idea whether Commissioner Carpenter would or would not be
I've already
interested.
spoken to him about it.
Okay, and he says he is not interested.
Correct.
Any other commissioner is not interested.
That's why we're having a discussion.
And the thing is, the other part of this is, I have been on that board for a while. The practice that we have had is that certainly when I talk to a member of a board or commission, if I see it as a reasonable thing to maybe replace them, I talk to them. I say, look, here's the deal. I think we need to make a change, or whatever the circumstances dictate. I found out through an email. I would like to have been asked about it, but I was not. I think that we need to use that same process. Also, I think we are looking at a similar thing where we have about 2 weeks, which is what I try to allow for any other nomination. So I don't mind, and I respect the nomination, the intention to nominate somebody, but I don't want to close it off and make sure that no one else has a chance to be there.
Yeah, and that's why we're having a discussion to see if anybody else is interested, and if they want to, they can throw in their name in their, right now. But Jerry, I understand there's a board meeting in September. That's why I want to have a discussion now before that board meeting, so we can become compliant with state law. I mean, you've had this meeting was this was sent almost early June. So I mean, we've had a month for you to catch up on the RSMO, but at this point, I would like to make sure that we are in compliant with state law by the time there's the next meeting in September. So that's why I requested that we have this meeting. I actually requested that it be on the agenda a few weeks ago, but there was other things on the agenda, so Diana suggested that we do it tonight, so that's why it's on the agenda for tonight. So yeah, I guess at this point we can just see who else is interested, and if no one else is interested, then we come back with a list of, if Jay, I've talked to Jay about it, he's interested, and that's why I'm nominating him, and then we'll come back in 2 weeks with a piece of paper that says who we want to vote for, so.
Then that's exactly what I was trying to suggest, was that is, I think, the process we should follow. I think having, with the July 4th holiday, that gives us the 2 weeks that we generally take to make these considerations.
Yeah, so we can make the nominations tonight, and then we can come back in 2 weeks.
You're making nominations before all names are...
Well, we have a discussion tonight, Jerry. We can make the nomination tonight and then vote in 2 weeks.
we don't nominate right now. You have the intention of nominating, and that is fine, but we do not nominate tonight.
Okay.
We will dispose of it later. So, I mean, I think we're getting caught in a semantics trap. I think we're trying to do the same thing, but we are just not quite saying it in the same way. So,
All right, yeah, so I want to nominate tonight, you want to wait 2 weeks, is that what you're saying?
no, what I'm saying is, I think anybody who, because somebody may change their mind, I think that we ought to have, it doesn't bother me that you're nominating right now, but I just want to say that it's important to allow any commissioner who wants to have the opportunity. And
that's
this
what-
kind of cuts it off to a degree.
No, I'm not, so fine. I'll pull back my nomination, we'll let everybody else discuss, and then I'll come back at the end and nominate Jay.
I really don't mind whichever way you want to do it.
Well, you're just saying I'm cutting off everybody else, so I'll pull back my nomination to the very end, and then we'll come back. So anybody else interested, they can talk. I see Joanne.
But the
somebody
thing
else.
is, you are, let me go back to this. You cannot really nominate during a discussion. You nominate during during the resolution. You can tell us all that's your intention to nominate, and that's just great, and that, I think, gets the job done.
Okay, my intention is to nominate Jay Johnson.
Yes, that would, I feel good about that. So, Commissioner Wagner.
Thank you. So I'll make one request of staff, and then I'll do something crazy too. Maybe it's all crazy, we'll find out. So I am going to assume then in a couple weeks, we will want to take action of some kind. I guess I will ask the administrator and the county councilor to create such an item on the agenda that would allow for such vote to occur and allow us to move forward based on what that is, so that we kind of get the procedural stuff out of the way. Clearly, there is one nomination that will go out there. Now, I'll say it this way. I do get concerned when we kind of presuppose or kind of call around and see who wants to do something, because then it's very clear it's not really meant for everybody. It's meant for one. I will say, even though I've dealt with the zoo for years back when I was Kansas City, but I've dealt with a lot of stuff in Kansas City over the years. I am not looking to nominate myself or ask anyone to nominate me. However, since it's very clear that our presiding commissioner has been there, I think wants to stay, then I will at least do the courtesy when the appropriate time comes to nominate him to continue. And then the chips can fall as they may, and we'll go on from there. But I will also add, not having read the statute, not knowing how the other nomination, well, I know how it goes with the timing, I'm not sure of. It does seem to me, if we're going to right the ship, then right the ship, so that if we want to deal with this particular issue, then if there is an attendant issue related to the other person, then it would seem to me that one of the other actions that we need to take is to request 3 names to come from the zoo, so that we can deal with that issue as well. It doesn't make any sense to me to go fix one thing and then we're not even sure about the other thing, right? We talked about this even with the library when that came. We took action in order to start the staggering and get that right. So I appreciate the issue coming forward. I'm learning a bit tonight about it, but if we're going to do it, then let's do it and have that issue off the table. But that'll be my intention, and if we can have assuming that everyone agrees with the suggestion as far as direction to staff, let's just get it done so we can take action. Thank you.
By the way, in addition to that, and I think I talked to the administrator earlier today, and I gave him a list of what I believe are all the relevant statutes. If those could also be forwarded to all commissioners so that we all have the same base information that we're working from, I think that might be helpful. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I might suggest on process, if there was consensus on one name, we would have a resolution ready for you in 2 weeks with that name on it. It doesn't sound like there's consensus on one name. I would suggest that we will have a a resolution ready in 2 weeks with a, nomination, an appointment that will have a blank, and we will let nominations happen in 2 weeks, and whoever, may the best man or woman win.
And I think that makes a lot of sense. That way it gives a level playing field. Commissioner Lawson?
Go ahead and do
Okay,
it.
you're
Try
good.
it.
You're good.
Oh,
You're
okay,
good.
got it. Okay. I have no interest in the zoo board. And I don't see a problem with Jay Johnson. I see a lot of problems with Jay Johnson, but this isn't one of them. No, and here's the thing, Jerry. Sorry, Commissioner Nolte. More than a year ago, we talked about the fact that you served on every board known to man, but at the time, there were only 3 of you, so it made a big difference. Where maybe Megan couldn't get away to do it, or John was working, or whatever. You stepped up to the plate and took a lot of these. I just feel, as Jay said that time ago, it's time to spread the wealth, and I firmly believe that it really is. I think that he should go ahead. I'd like to see him go ahead and be on that board. And then, there's probably other boards that maybe I'd like to serve on, or, whatever. So I think it's too much is being made about it, frankly. And the fact that, I can't believe you said, call around and ask about stuff. Let's don't get into things that are done on a call. I feel like he was nice enough to call Jay and said, do you want to be on the board? Jay said yes, or Jay called him and said, I want to be on the board, will you nominate me? That's no big deal. I don't think that's a big deal. Right. And we do it all the time on so many issues we won't go into. But I support Jay 100% to be on this particular board, and I don't want it. So I just think what the lawyer mentioned is perfectly great. Go ahead and do whatever magic you do, and then when we come back after our holiday, everything's set. I did get a call, I will tell you, from an individual who has evidently submitted his name to this Friends of the Zoo. So he's a Northlander, and so hopefully, he might be somebody that we'll look at to do this. But I certainly think that Jay could do a nice job, and that gives another person an opportunity to serve.
And the thing is, I would be open to those sort of things. In fact, this board meets once a quarter, so it's not really taking a lot off my schedule.
Yeah.
I would like to have more commissioners taking things. In fact, there's a law enforcement board with Mark. It is designated for the presiding commissioner. I requested, and he was nice enough to say yes, the sheriff came in as the alternate. It's perfect, and here's why, because I can then step back from that, and now he is the person there, so we are still compliant with the law, but the person who is the better fit, which would be the sheriff instead of myself, was there. The other thing I think that I have that is of some concern is, as I said before, I've had occasion, for better or worse, to ask people if they would please not. I would rather not nominate them again. I'll put it as gently as possible. That's the difference between working with somebody and removing somebody.
And doing what?
And removing somebody.
Oh, okay.
If you don't ask them first and you just throw somebody else out there, there is the quality that can be interpreted that it is a removal from office.
And I agree with
I
that.
think that is a courtesy that I think is it would have been appreciated.
Yeah.
Commissioner,
Anyway,
okay, Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, sir. So I just want to make sure the folks at home that are listening understand what's going on here, and really to comment on Commissioner, let me
turn this down here, Commissioner Wagner's position on getting the process right. That's part of the problem is this process has never been done right for the zoo board. It comes from state statute, RMSO 184.506, which has been in effect since August of 2010. And it's very clear. The first paragraph, the first sentence, essentially says that we get one position from this body that's appointed by a majority vote of this body, period. That hasn't happened in the past. And one of the issues that we've had with the presiding commissioner being on so many boards is we're always told what's the presiding commissioner that's supposed to be on that board, just like you said about the law enforcement one. Well, that was said about this board as well. As a matter of fact, Jerry and I talked, and Jerry said, well, I was told it has to be a presiding commissioner. Well, this state statute has been in effect since 2010. It's not the presiding commissioner. But for some reason, we keep hearing it's the presiding commissioner. I know for a fact there were some other commissioners who wanted to be on this zoo board, but were told they couldn't be because it goes to the presiding commissioner. So we need to fix that. It needs to be, and whether it's the presiding commissioner or not doesn't matter, but it needs to be voted on by the governing body. We also have a second position that we vote on, and that position is, per the statute, and this comes under section 4 and 4A, it's basically the Friends of the Zoo shall provide us with 3 names of people that have applied to them for the position, and then we vote on that. We pick, out of those 3 names, we vote on the one. It sounds like Commissioner Lawson knows of someone who put in for that. Actually, I know of someone who's put in for that as well. That process, I don't think that process has been followed either. But nonetheless, both those appointments are expired. And so we need to act on those appointments, whether it's me or not. We need to act on both of those appointments. And so that's kind of how the process is that we need to fix and put it back in and basically follow state law, which we haven't been since 2010, apparently. So we just need to get that process back in order. And Counselor, if I've misquoted that process at all, let me know. But I think it's pretty clear in 184.506 that that's a process we should be under. We should have been under this whole time. And might I add, our appointments from Clay County to the board, to the zoo board, are currently the chair and the vice chair of the zoo board. Jerry serves as the vice chair of the zoo board. And so it concerns me that we're just now figuring this out. But we need to fix that, just kind of some of the cleanup things that we need to do with our processes here. So hopefully we can get that done.
I appreciate when we talked at the last pro tem meeting, because one of the things, and I want to say I appreciate your services, pro tem, because one of the things that I depend on the pro tem for is advice, bounce things off of. And at the time we had that one meeting, and you asked, well, let's pause this because you wanted to check out the state statute. And I was very happy to comply with that. And I think that, quite honestly, I don't think anybody believes it. I did not honestly believe that. I would hope not. Now that we are aware of it, you're right. It's akin to rejiggering so we have staggering terms for other boards and commissions. So this is an adjustment we need to make. And I think we do need to make it. Now that we are aware of it, we need to go forward with this. So yeah, what I'm saying is, I think the process that we go forward with, because in most of these appointments, they are not specific to a commissioner. A lot of times they have a broader field. And so I think opening up to any commissioner who is interested, having that debate, having that vote is probably, this is a little bit of a different animal. And I think that that's probably the best way to go. And like I say, I would have appreciated somebody coming to me and saying, Jerry, we think we'd like to put Jay in there. That would have been a nice courtesy. I'm sorry, Commissioner, I'm rattling on. Let me go ahead and give you my go.
Yeah, no, I agree. So we're just nominations from the commission, and then we put it to a vote. I mean, it's pretty simple, and I think we got to notice that. So we finalize that, and when we meet again in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Am I right? He wants to be recognized.
I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. I saw you were on, but I didn't realize you wanted the recognition. Go right ahead, Mr. Graham.
Very quickly, since a couple commissioners have talked about, hey, they might know somebody with some interest, On the Friends of the Zoo nominations, there are 3 requirements that they have to meet. They're very simple, but just so everyone hears, they have to be 21, they have to be a resident of Clay County, and they have to be a registered voter of Clay County. Those are the only 3 requirements. So if you talk to somebody, I'm sure they can all meet it, but just want to let you know.
I'm going to hazard a guess here, but I believe we both qualify. Now, you are over 21, is that not correct?
I think he's talking about the other position.
Oh.
The other position.
I would still like to know, are you over 20?
Yeah, I'm just going to check in you on this one. But yeah, so, and that, of course, is going to be why we can communicate to the Friends of the Zoo. That ball is largely in their court, if I understand correctly. Okay, is there, if that, does anyone have anything else they would like to add to the discussion? I don't want to, I think we've already had one pretty lengthy discussion, so if, unless there's something to be said, I think we'll go ahead and call it a day on our discussions. That brings us to reports. Mr. Administrator.
Yes, we have one report tonight, the Clay County Pleasant Valley Road District Number 8 Annual Financial Report, starting January 1st, 2024 to December 31st, 2024, submitted by the Auditor's Office.
Okay.
The report's within your packet for review and approval.
Thank you. That brings us to County Administrator comments. So how was your maiden voyage, so to speak?
It's been good. It's been good. It's been good. I will say that we have our next meeting scheduled is July 10th, and that's about it for tonight. It's been a wonderful time thus far. Got to meet quite a few of the employees. I would say it's been a good transition this week. Diana's been a big help on getting things done with that. I got to go around and meet most of the departments. I still got quite a few more people to meet, but so I'm looking forward to that as well. So it's been a good time thus far. I'm coming back tomorrow.
You know, I hadn't thought to ask that question. It's like, okay, so you will be back tomorrow, right?
There's no doubt I'll be here.
Very good. So if you'd like to go ahead and do a little summary of our meeting schedule.
Yes, our next meeting will be July 10th. We will not have a meeting next week. We'll be July 10th.
Very good. Commissioner comments. Commissioner Thompson, you've been quiet, so I'll pick on you first.
No worries, yeah. So as we do not have a meeting next week, I want to wish everybody a very happy and very safe, be very careful, do not blow off any parts during 4th of July. You know, it's an important day, Independence Day for our country. So, and I also want to wish my eldest child, my 8-year-old, who it seems crazy, he's about to be 8 years old next week. He's turning 8, which is still insane to me, but yes, that's all I have. Thanks.
Happy birthday to him. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, sir. First of all, also happy 4th of July to everybody. But I want to say welcome and good job on your first meeting, Mr. Hodges. This is a different one tonight. They're not usually this long, just so you know, but you did a good job. I'm sure we're going to see many more. So congratulations and a good job tonight. But I also want to recognize, you know, I'd forgotten that we weren't having a meeting last week. And the week before that was actually our previous administrator, Diana Wright's last meeting here. And none of us made any comments or acknowledged that at all because I don't think we knew at the time that she wasn't going to be here. She's actually still on the books this week to kind of overlap to help bring Damon along, but she chose wisely not to be here tonight because it's his show now. Damon's in charge, not Diana. And excuse me for the first names, but we're just making it clear. And she knows that. So she wasn't here tonight, but I'm pretty sure she's probably watching at home to see how things are going. So I just want to acknowledge the years of service she put in, not only years of public service, but the years specifically here at Clay County and what she's done to move us forward in a very positive direction in very many ways. And I've said this before, but she came on in an extremely challenging time with the new Constitution, with the new commission going from 3 to 7, and 4 of us being new to this job. She had to manage quite a bit.
And although maybe she wasn't perfect in some people's eyes, she did a darn good job. And I'm very happy and glad that we had her through that transition. And most people that go through that, there's not too many people that can take a county or even had to take a county through such a transition. But I just want to acknowledge that and thank her and tell that she did a tremendous job. And we are in a much better place now. We're in I could say we're rebranding Clay County, and we've finally put our big boy pants on. We're no longer podunk. We're a very professional county, doing things the right way, heading in the right direction. And a lot of that's because of her. And now it's up to Mr. Hodges to continue taking us in that same direction and moving us forward. So thank you to Diana, and welcome to Damon.
Commissioner Withington.
I just want to say welcome, Damon. It's good to have you here. Hope you've had a really good week. Also, happy 4th of July to everybody. And earlier this week, Commissioner Wagner and I went to a town hall down in North Kansas City to hear the citizens' concerns about the Royals or thoughts on the Royals. And that was a really good town hall. I thought so. Then Tuesday, we had a EDC board meeting, and several of us were there, and it was a really good meeting, pretty insightful. Or maybe it was Wednesday, whatever day it was. And then I met with Mark McAuliffe today from the EDC. He's our new executive director, and really excited to see what he's going to do. He shared his vision for the EDC and everything, and so I'm excited to hear that. And then also, I've received a lot of emails this week from some staff members regarding the pay study and some of their concerns. So don't want to read all the emails and everything, but I'm hoping that maybe we can reevaluate that. It seemed like it was a lot different than what we had initially thought. I thought it was just going to be a pay study, but it seemed like it was turned into a reorganization. It seemed like some people got 30% pay raises, other people got typos saying they were going to get a big pay raise and ended up not getting a pay raise because of a clerical error. And then some people were taken from salary to hourly. Their department doesn't have a budget for overtime. These people always work more than 40 hours a week, so I think that might end up being a concern. So hopefully we can reevaluate some of these things. I've forwarded Damon a bunch of the emails and everything, so hopefully this is something we can look into.
Commissioner Lawson, I'm sorry, I decided to do a little crazy ordering there. So.
Oh, well.
There you go.
I do want to welcome Damon. I'm thrilled that you're here. I'll do anything I can to help you. Looking forward to working with you very much. I have also received large numbers of letters, and I hadn't thought about forwarding to Damon, but I think I'll do that. And, you know, I've been so disappointed. I thought this was going to be a fairly straight across the board, fair situation. We had someone from outside the company that did it, and you would hope that they brought with them no preconceived ideas or anything, and it would be really fair and equitable. But it seems to me the way that it has come to be, a few got a whole hell of a lot, and the rest of them got very little. And titles mean so much to people because they work so hard to get them. And many people lost those titles. And it was degrading to them. The salary that they hoped they would get, they didn't get. There were a lot of people that were, in a way, downgraded. I'm just thoroughly disappointed for the money we spent that people weren't as gratified about the whole thing as I thought they would be. So I will forward all those that I received from people on to Damon so he can see the feeling of the masses. And hopefully we can in a while, we can maybe reevaluate or something to, and the one thing that really was upsetting was that a couple of people that called me said that they were advised that their assessment, their reevaluation was not made, the final decision wasn't made by a county person, it was made by the consulting company. And I thought that this commission made a very strong statement that it would be the county that made the final decision, but in several instances, that was not the case. So that was kind of a punch in the gut to some of these people. Anyway, I'd like to say I'm very displeased with it, not that that means anything to anybody, but it's not turned out the way I thought it would, and I'll forward everything over, and people can maybe get a good evaluation.
Commissioner Wagner.
Thank you. I will join everyone else in welcoming Damon. This is my second time in elected office that I will have had the opportunity to work with you. I believe when you were hired, I gave you both my congratulations and my condolences. You probably earned them both tonight in some form or fashion. But in all kidding aside, I think you will do very, very well. I do have to take one issue, though, with a comment from Commissioner Johnson when he said, you know, we don't go this long off, and I could have sworn the last meeting was just as long. I'm hoping we're not getting into a habit, but I just got to point that out.
Scare him away.
Well, no, he just said he's coming back tomorrow, so I figured I was okay. But all kidding aside, we're glad you're here. And as you continue to drink from the fire hose, hopefully we will continue to help you with a few extra cups that you can catch some of that water in. Even though I disagreed a moment ago with my colleague, Commissioner Johnson, there's one thing I do very much agree with him on, and that is his feelings towards your predecessor, Diana Wright. She was the right person at the right time for this county. She has taken us very far in a very short time. Whether people agree with her or not, I think her legacy is going to be a good one for us, and one that you will carry on. So I do want to add my voice to that because it's very true. Last thing I'll mention is an opportunity for those since folks may be around July 4th, if you have nothing to do, July 4th at 9:30 a.m., I invite you to go to the Adkins Johnson Museum in Gladstone, where you will hear readings and you can participate in the readings of the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution and Bill of Rights. I believe our presiding commissioner and I were there last year, did a little bit of reading ourselves, and it's always nice to be reminded that the 4th is more than just blowing stuff up, that there's actually a reason why we actually hold that date as highly as we do. So 9:30 at Adkins Johnson, be there. It's really easy to study for because you can find a copy of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution pretty easily. But if you want to celebrate America in a different way, please be there. Thank you very much.
It was a lot of fun doing that, and I always relish the opportunity to prove that the elected officials are indeed literate and can indeed read. So that's I like to show off that way. One of the things that we need to do as a county to go forward is to have consistent excellence in our staff and in our team. And I think that is what I would like to express as far as welcoming Damon, is that we had an outstanding administrator prior to, and I have every reason to believe that we have an outstanding one coming on board right now. The limited time we've worked together, I've been very impressed, and I want to thank you for your hard work. But that is what moves this county forward, is to have consecutive superior people working for this county. And the fact that we have you here to carry on that legacy, I think there's a multiplier effect. So You're going to be a great administrator, and that is just magnified by the fact that we have, I think, a history of going in the right direction, and I'm sure you will help us lead the staff in that direction. Also, of course, happy 4th of July to everybody. It's good for us to remember why it is we are here. As Commissioner Wagner said, it's not just to blow stuff up. But we need to remember exactly why we celebrate and what our founding documents tell us about who we have been, who we are, and who we will be. So with that, I hope everybody has, as Commissioner Thompson said, a safe and an enjoyable time. Enjoy your families, enjoy the time that God has given us to be together. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you.